Yeah. Let's go check out your whip.
Yeah, man. Let me find the key. I've lost it already. It's yours now. Shook's good at everything, bro. What the fuck's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? Punch you? Oh, he might punch you. What the fuck? Like you don't know? Yeah. Come on, bro. There's my children's future spent on a car. Yeah. So this is the pure sport version. So this is the one that's slightly more agile. So it can only do like 305 miles an hour.
305.
Yeah.
The legendary Cobra Tate. Yeah, we're running already, right?
Fuck yeah.
Did you go out last night?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Fuck, you look pretty smooth for going out. If I went out last night, I'd be.
Bro, yeah, I'm professional at like getting messy and trying to pull it off. But we'll see how it goes.
How late you go to bed? You use that mic right there, brother.
Yeah. We on now?
Yeah, we're running.
All right. You know what I've noticed about podcasts? Nelk Boys did it as well. It's just kind of like go, boom. Yeah. There's none of this like intro, nothing. It's just like bam, go. Yeah. So I went out last night. I just got to Dubai, so had a lot of people to see. So I've been here, there, and everywhere. But it wasn't too late.
The club's sweet out here.
You know, maybe I'm getting old. I'm kind of over clubbing now.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm getting old. Maybe I'm an old man.
I wish I was over clubbing, but I can only go every so often. Like I can only go for a couple weeks, month out of a fight, so I can only go so often. But I think that's why I enjoy them so much.
Because it keeps you restrained. Yeah.
But when I go.
You go?
Oh, I go.
I'm too objective driven now. Like I used to go to the club, and now I go to the club going, "Where's the chick?" And then you get the chick within the first 4 minutes, and you're like, "All right, cool." And you're gone after 15 minutes, and it's over. You don't go to. That's it.
That's the thing. I have a girl. I've been with her for 7 years, and I tell her when I don't want to go to the club with you. If I'm going to the club, I want to go to the club because I want to pick up a hot chick. That's it. Like that's what it is. That's my main objective to go to the club. If I know for sure 100%. If you tell me ahead of time, hey, you're not getting a chick. Yeah. I don't even know if I really want to go.
Well, nobody would. That's how the whole club scene works, right? They send the hot girls in, and the girls go free, and that's why the men spend all the stupid money. But I do think clubs are dying. Like Dubai still has a club scene. America still has a club scene, but especially in Europe, a lot of the clubs are dying now because people just meet each other online on Instagram and Tinder and stuff. So what's the point in going to a club when you can just sit there and swipe on Tinder and
Master right here.
Tinder Master?
No.
Black belt?
No.
BJJ? All right, good to know. But yeah, like in London especially, like the last 10 to 15 years, the nightlife's completely died because it's just so expensive to go out, and you can just Tinder and get a chick, and it's all finished. And add to that the safety concerns, and London's dangerous now, and blah blah blah. So nobody goes out anymore. London's finished.
Dude, you look pretty fucking healthy because I was looking up how many fights you have total.
I've had 87.
87, and you're still walking around pretty healthy.
I've done all right, yeah. Like in the old school K1 kickboxing days, it was you fought a lot more because even I see the UFC guys now. He's like champ after like 12 fights, 13 fights. Back in my day, you had to have 20 fights to even get recognized, and it was a different sport back then. And I still miss it, of course. But yeah, I've had a whole bunch of fights and also a bunch of different styles because you had to take whatever payday. So kickboxing above the waist or K1 or Muay Thai or whatever was paying on the day, you were just like, okay, let's go. So it's kind of different.
How did that transition go between like fighting and retiring? Because it's like, dude, you fight, everyone wants to give you everything. You're getting all this clout. Your ego's huge. You feel like the man. And then it goes to like retired.
It's kind of interesting because I never really officially retired. And also, I never really made that much money from fighting. I have to give huge credit to Dana because what he's done with the UFC and the opportunity he gives guys now didn't exist. I mean, I'm 36. I'm not that old, right? But I was at my peak, let's say 10, 11 years ago. It just didn't exist back then. And the reason I ended up doing K1 or kickboxing as opposed to MMA, I fought MMA 5 times, but you could make the same money fighting K1. In fact, more money fighting for K1 than you could MMA. But it was always annoying because it was 8-man tournaments. So they'd have this huge payday, and you'd be like, yes, but you had to fight like 3 times in a night, and your shins would get all messed up, and it was messy, right? But so I stuck with kickboxing and K1, but I never made huge sums of money from it. Like it didn't make me a millionaire. I had a nice apartment and a nice car, and that was about it. And then I decided to take a year off to make some money. So I didn't officially retire. I just found this way I could make some money. I found this little hustle, and I thought, you know what? Let me take a year off. All the time I'm putting in the gym. Let me take a clean year off. And focus on the money. And then by the end of that year, I was making so much money. It's like, okay, now it's hard, right? Now it's difficult. Do I go back to fighting or do I keep making $500,000 a month from home? Yeah. And it's kind of like, it's hard, you know? So it was.
Guys fighting UFC right now. You don't make, obviously you hear about fighters paying stuff. You don't make a ton of money your first 5, 6, 7 fights. Even then after you're not making millions. But it's almost a good thing because if you have these young guys up and coming making $millions per fight, you might not get that motherfucker for another 2 2 years.
No, yeah. If you pay a young cat a bunch of money and it's his first time having money, his first time having clout and fame, he's gonna fall off. And that's the thing. Like I don't know the ins and outs of the fighter pay, but when everyone gives Dana a hard time over it, I'm like, look, your biggest opportunity still exists inside the UFC. If you win all the time, the opportunities are there. You're going to be able to pay your bills if you keep fighting and you train hard and etc. I had 87 fights, and there's been a time when I was 4-time world champion and I'm fighting for 50 G's, 40 G's, like at 4-time world champion, you know. Or yeah, you get invited to a K1 tournament, it's $250,000, which sounds nice. You got to beat. There's 8 psychos, bro. It's not like, and there's also a degree of luck involved in the 8-mans, right? Like a guy could have an easy fight, you had a war, then you get in there and. But it is interesting, like the psychology. I was in an 8-man tournament in France. And we were there, and it was like the first round was MMA, and the second round was K1 or something, blah, blah, blah. And a guy came to me at the back, and he goes, the guy you're fighting, his legs are bad. Low kicks, low kicks. And I was like, all right, thanks. I didn't know who this guy was. And my coach said, ignore him. He's full of shit. I was like, why? He goes, whenever they do that, because my coach is Bosnian. He goes, whenever they do the 8-mans, they come in, they say aim for low kicks because they're trying to make you mess your shins up on his shins because he's the coach for the other guy on the other. Like it's all, man. It's headache. But so I never officially retired. I'm still in the game officially.
Well, that brings me to the fucking Logan Paul thing. I'm buddies with Logan. I've met him a couple times. I really like Logan, but that's a fucking fight. That's an amazing
fight. The biggest problem with Logan versus me is that I'm a completely clean athlete and he's on a shitload of steroids. So for him to fight me, either I have to go on a shitload of steroids and become a super heavyweight because I'm genetically gifted, or he has to pass a drugs test. So if he wants to fight for real and he'll keep pissing in a cup and he'll lay off the steroids, then you're sure I'll smash him up.
Yeah. What rule set would you prefer?
It doesn't really matter to me. I mean, obviously, if we were to fight kickboxing or K1, I'd completely destroy him. Boxing is good for the fans. I think boxing translates very well to the fans because even MMA, although I think UFC shows are more entertaining, you still need a degree of knowledge to respect Jiu Jitsu, whereas every idiot understands a punch in the face, right? So boxing translates very well for the fans. So I'm happy to box the guy. I mean, he's a big guy. He's a strong guy. Like I said, he's on a bunch of juice. If he lays off the juice and he wants to fight clean, then sure, I'll beat his ass. I mean, it's no problem. I'm not past it yet.
What about a street fight? What would happen?
Well, that's a good point because, you know, it's interesting. Street fights are completely different than anything that happens inside of any kind of rule set. I think a lot of people have this misunderstanding where they think, oh, yeah, you're a pro fighter, so on the street. I'm like, yeah, okay, the street's great. And obviously you have an advantage on the street. But I've also seen, and I won't say names, I've seen world champion fighters get sparked on the street. You get sucker punched, you get sucker punched. I've seen dudes get jumped. I've seen guys whose names I can say, which I won't, and everyone would know them, get knocked out clean, cold, ice on the street just because they were in a club and they were arguing with some guy and bang, sucker punch. It's messy, and especially I'm telling you guys now, especially in Europe and England, man, they don't give, in England, they don't care. It's different. So violence is very different than fighting. So I like to think that I would never have a fair street fight. Let's put it that way, because you have to win, right? Because it's life or death at that point. So I don't want to answer the question because that's when you just pull the strap, right? If it's life or death.
What about Jake Paul, Anderson Silva? That's a big one coming up. I think it's in actually 2 weeks. Do you watch much of the boxing? Are you interested in it? Are you going to tune in?
Yeah, and you know what? It's kind of interesting because since I blew up, obviously there's going to be a parallel drawn between my brother and I, Andrew Tate, Tristan Tate, Tate brothers, Logan and Paul, the Paul brothers. I actually quite like Jake, and I think he trains really hard, and I think he's dedicated to the sport, and he's seriously actually a boxer. I don't think he's a YouTuber. I think he's a boxer. Logan is still a YouTuber. So they're in different parallels. I wish Jake the absolute best for his career. I think he's far better than Logan. If I were to fight either of them, Jake would be much harder to beat. Logan would be easy to beat. Jake, you'd have to train for like a fighter. Someone goes, oh, he's just a YouTuber. I say, no, he's not. He's a young man with a lot of money. He's been training boxing for a long time. The guy can box, right? So I think it's going to be hard. And obviously Silva's a legend, but age is real and genetics are real. And you know, the time is the fire in which we all burn. And we're going to have to see what happens. It's going to be hard to watch Silva get hurt. It's going to hurt, you know?
That would be hard to see Silva go down like Tyrone or something.
Because it's been how many months since Jake's last fight?
Like supposed to fight that Hassim ramen noodles, and then something happened there.
So it seems like these last 6 months he's really been grinding. So it's even going to be hard to go off his last fight on how good he is even.
Yeah, you can improve a lot, especially when you're not super good fast. You can improve a lot in that time frame.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. Like, it's kind of one thing I will give the Pauls respect for is I kind of like they brought back this dueling aspect, because all this YouTube beef before this was so annoying to even watch. Like takedown video. Now it's like, oh, you don't like me, fight me. And I do like they brought that back because that's the world I grew up in, right? And the internet's taken all that away, and it's good to have that back because in the real world, you can't just run your mouth to people because it gets violent. So I like that that's come back.
Yeah, it's more interesting than watching them play fucking soccer or something.
Completely. That's how. Yeah, completely. And that's how it should be. And like I said, I think me versus Logan would be the best fight. But we need to talk about his drug problem. If we can get that fixed. If he can lay off the cocaine and the steroids, then maybe we can work something out. But I don't know if he's prepared to do that for long enough.
Dude, there's something about it with the fucking. There's something people hate on the internet. Like they see someone confident and they fucking hate it, dude. Yeah. Sugar's dealing with it. How did you start dealing with it when you first started getting a lot of fucking hate?
It's interesting because the saying is that hate never comes from above, and it's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. With me, it's so easy as well because when they do a video like on YouTube, if they say the truth about Andrew Tate, I can look at the thumbnail and by one glance of the man or woman, I can tell if it's pro or anti. You can just tell. A guy who has his life together is cool every single time. A beautiful woman on my side every single time. Every dude who's like bitter and upset and sad and overweight or some ugly chick, they're hating on me. So hate never comes from above. And if you're truly unhappy with yourself and you're truly not confident, then you're going to hate the people who are. You're jealous. Jealousy is a huge driving factor. I like to believe that humans are quite apathetic. We don't really give a shit. And to see someone else and be so viscerally enraged by them, to be so angry at them, there has to be a driving force, which is something like jealousy. Otherwise, you're just like, oh, whatever. Why would they care what I say? I don't talk to these people. Why do they care what I say so much?
That Penis Morgan interview you did, was fucking, that was so hard to listen to because every time you'd ask you something, you'd go to answer it and you'd go, you'd start having a fucking stroke.
He made himself look bad.
He did.
I wasn't completely happy with how I navigated, but when I watched it back, I saw like 99.9% of all comments were on my side. And it was a difficult one because I'm now currently in a situation where I'm trying to tell the truth like I always did, but also I don't want to give the Matrix any more ammo against me, right? Because the way they attacked me is nearly unprecedented. They got Trump, Alex Jones, and me. I'm like the third most attacked man by the system. And you have to be very, very careful what you say after that, especially understanding that little sound bites can be taken and out of context. But yeah, and I knew Piers was a setup and I knew Piers was out to get me, but I was trying to semi-carefully navigate it. Obviously, I could have just sat there and told him to get fucked. Yeah. But
I think that's what he wanted. He was trying to get you fired up.
He was trying, and that's why I was just trying to stay as calm as possible.
That was money.
Before any debate, any conversation, what if you had a physical altercation before you guys went into that debate? And then it's like, okay, now you know where you're at.
Yeah. It's the bottom line of life. That's the thing that a lot of people forget. Like we talk about this all the time, and that's why I dedicated so much of my life to fighting, and that's why I like it so much and respect it so much. In fact, that's why all humans intrinsically respect it. If you go to the UFC, you have basketball players, baseball players, every other sport respects fighting because it's the true bottom line. The bottom line is always going to be violence at the end of the day. If I argue 2 + 2 is 5 and someone else argues 2 + 2 is 4 and I smash his face in, it's 5 for the day. It's 5. Between me and him, it's 5 now. It has to be. He can't say it's 4 anymore. He ain't got a mouth. And that's just the bottom line of life. And obviously we want to live peacefully and we go through life and we try and be mature adults and we live in a civilized society. But it's still violence that's underpinning everything. And I think a lot of my worldviews and a lot of the things I say have a semi-violent connotation. And I don't mean them to be like scary in any way, but I've been told this by people. They said, Tate, the reason they banned you is not just because of what you say. It's because you're scary. Thanks, bro. Thank you very much. Caffeine, miracle drug.
Boom.
Bro, miracle drug. They're like, you're scary. And I'm like, what do you mean I'm scared? They're like, oh, you're an ex-professional fighter. You're living in Romania and you got all these pit bulls and these machine guns. And it's like people are intimidated by you. And I say, but violence is the underpinning of society. Violence always has been the bottom line for everything. I talk about this all the time. I talk about if you get a parking ticket, the only reason you pay it is because of the threat of violence. You may not think there's a threat of violence, but if you don't pay that ticket, they'll add more money, and then they'll tell you to go to court. And if you don't go to court, then they'll send a bailiff. You don't reply to him, etc. Sooner or later, police are going to turn up, and they're going to say, "Come with me." And if you say no, what happens? Violence. Mm-hmm. There's a threat of violence behind every single red light. There's a threat of violence behind a parking ticket. There's a threat of violence behind every piece of paperwork you've ever signed for the government, behind your driver's license. It all comes back down to a threat of violence. Mm-hmm. So when you talk to pacifists or people who say they don't believe in violence, they say you're a liar because you believed in civilized society, and civilized society is pinned on one thing: violence. You fuck up too bad, violence comes. That's just the way the world works. Mm-hmm. Even if you go to a forest and you see a big, beautiful tree, he crushed all the other trees around him. That's a violent guy. The big tree is a violent tree. He destroyed all the other little trees. So you have to understand that violence is what makes the world go round. So it's good to be good at it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
You know,
It's crazy how much just like almost being a top G rubs people the wrong way. Well, guys that aren't a top G, they don't understand. They don't understand owning a business and be able to providing and traveling around and having the opportunity to have multiple pussy.
Yeah.
And they hear these outlooks. I mean, we talk about it too a lot. And they hear the outlooks from you and they're just like, something from their conditioning just grinds them, bro.
The beta males.
well, but this is the thing. So like, if you look at a rabbit, right, it's intrinsically afraid of a fox or a dog. It just knows it's afraid. And I think that that's what it truly is. I think if you took away civilized society, all these beta males would be fearful of us with good reason, right? Because they know that the bottom line is, like we just said, violence. And if we want what they have, we're going to take it off them. But we now live in a civilized society, and their fear is being masked as dislike. That's what it is. They're genuinely fearful, and they're genuinely intimidated. And then they just mask it as dislike, and they try and hate on us, but because they can hide behind a computer screen. But truly they're fearful because they know their position in life, and this is how the world works. There's hierarchies, and that's how it is. So I've never seen anybody who dislikes me who I've even for a fraction of a second want to be anything close to. I look at the people who dislike me, and I'm just like, your life looks absolutely and utterly terrible.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
Yeah.
God's already taught them all a lesson. It's like it's fine with me. You can keep hating.
It's hard to take advice from someone who doesn't have money, who's fat, unhealthy, out of shape. And I feel like a lot of those people are fucking sitting there making YouTube videos talking about how to be great, how to make money, all this shit.
Completely.
Pathetic.
And worst of all, it's hard to take advice from people who are sad. So I'll give you an example. I said depression wasn't real and the world lost its mind. And I sat there, even Piers was arguing with me on it. And I said, listen, this isn't even about real or fake. This isn't about true or not. You're looking at it in the wrong paradigm. I'm explaining to you that I'm a human who gets to live one life, hopefully more, but let's say one life. And I'm going to adopt a mindset that gives me the optimum human experience. I'm going to believe in things that make me powerful. I'm not going to believe in anything that takes power away from me. The reason I don't say depression is real, the reason I don't believe in it is that heaven forbid the worst things on earth happen to me. I can never be clinically depressed because I don't believe it's a real thing. I can't be haunted by a ghost if I don't believe in ghosts. I said this before on another podcast. If you have two men in different haunted houses, one believes in ghosts, one doesn't. The one who doesn't believe in ghosts is going to sleep just fine. The one who does, he's the one giving power to the fear. He's the one who's going to be afraid of it. So I'm saying, why would I believe in depression? Because if I believe in it, I have to be fearful of it, and it might strike me and get me down. If I believe in feeling depressed sometimes, but knowing I'll get better, then I'm okay, right? But if I believe in the clinical idea of becoming depressed and having depression and not being able to get rid of it, then I'm not going to be okay. So I said, I don't believe in it. I refuse to believe in it. And when I said this, a whole bunch of depressed people started attacking me. And I was sitting there going, why would I want to adopt the thinking of someone who is sad? You just told me you're suicidal, and I should think like you. I'm like, no.
A lot of people are depressed and anxious, but it comes down to how they eat, how they sleep. They don't work out. They hit their fucking vape pens, and then they say they're anxious and depressed. That's what's causing the anxiety and the depression. Is literally people's life habits.
Completely. And this is why this whole idea of clinical depression is so dangerous, right? Because you're telling these people, oh, you have a disease. It's not your fault. No, it is your fault. It's absolutely and utterly your fault. If I lived your existence, I'd be depressed. Your life's shit. Like, and especially in the world we live in today, and especially for a man, most men have very, very depressing existences. It's easy for us all to sit here in Abu Dhabi, right? You're fighting on the UFC. We're all somebodies. You're on YouTube. We're running around with money, whatever. If you're Joe Schmo in the modern world as a dude, it's fucking depressing. Of course you're depressed. I get it, but you can't sit there and believe you have a disease. You have to accept that there's a lifestyle you need to change, and that gives you power.
Especially like people that never have gone through anything tough in their life.
Yeah, man.
Ever. Never even put themselves in a scenario to be tough. And then they're sitting there bored. They're like, I'm depressed.
Yeah, and then these are the people who attack us, right? Yeah. Because they're unhappiness, and when you're truly unhappy, you want to spread it. It's unhappiness is kind of like a disease. They like misery loves company, right? Hurt people. It's absolutely true.
But like the depression that would come from maybe a family member dying or something like that would be hard to deal with.
Well, completely. That's feeling depressed. I believe in that, absolutely. But I don't believe in having a clinical disease. I mean, losing a family member and being upset about it, that's absolutely and utterly healthy. Like, we've all been through that. But saying I now have a clinical disease, I don't know. I just don't understand this link where they're saying that you feel sad because of a scenario and that's now somehow a disease.
I think it comes down to self-discipline too, because I know a lot of people that are just, it's pathetic. They just don't have self-discipline. Yeah. And at any level, there's levels to self-discipline. But I feel like that's where real happiness from self-discipline. I'm going to go on this fucking run in the morning. I don't really want to, but I know I'm going to fucking get this high from it. I'm going to eat a healthy breakfast. I'm going to start the day right, and that's going to carry on. I think for me, I heard you say one time too, and I don't know if it was serious or if I took that out of context, but waking up and grabbing your phone first thing in the morning.
Yep.
Open to the portal.
Yep.
Do you believe that?
Oh, 100%.
For me, I believe in starting your day off a little slower. I hit a 10-minute morning meditation every morning.
Yep.
I go outside, get my sunlight, hydrate with some water, take a good amount of time before I look at my phone. That's just how I have to operate, because for me, I look at my phone first thing, I can feel like anxiety kind of.
And it's anxiety, and you're right, and it's deciding the reality you want, and you're completely true about the anxiety. So like, if I was still pro fighting, it'd be different. Yeah. Now my life, even now, I'll admit, my life is an anxious life. Like I have. Smartphones as a whole and social media as a whole, to a degree, are poison, man. Like I am absolutely not really a phone addict, and I wake up in the morning and it takes me 3 hours to clear my WhatsApp messages, and I need it clear in my brain. It has to be empty. So I wake up and it's just like, oh, fuck you, block, fuck you, okay, fuck you, and you're just and I need it clear, and I have to go through it all, and it's the key to my success, right? Like I'm now sitting on a $500 million empire or whatever, but it is work, and it is anxiousness. And even when you're driving your nice car, your phone's going off and you're like, oh, what's on the phone? And part of you wants to stop and check it. It is mind poison. I can't deny it's mind poison, but it's also super useful, and it can be done. And
business too.
It's business.
Do you have a form of meditation type shit? Do you do or not?
That's the one thing I miss most about fighting, because it's the only time your mind's completely clear from everything else, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fighting is meditation. Yeah. That's the only time you're not thinking about anything else. Mm-hmm. You know, even if you're driving a car, man, I'm at the point, even if I'm fucking a bitch, I'm thinking about something else. I'm still thinking, like, you know what? It's work to do. You know, like, it's only fighting. I love driving as well. I've become, since I've retired, or since I've stopped fighting, I've become a car addict. So I have like 28 supercars. I love racing around tracks and stuff. Mm-hmm. Or I live in, one of the primary reasons I live in Eastern Europe is because it's amazing to drive.
It's not like fighting is such a scary thing. Driving fast is also puts you in that flow, because
you can't make mistakes, right? Exactly. So I like to play chess, but I struggle to focus for long games. I play slower games, but yeah, to a degree, it's all about discipline. And what you said earlier about happiness is so utterly, completely true. The whole idea of happiness, I think, has been misconstrued to the populace, especially to men. And this is why so many people label themselves as unhappy, because they're trying to find that giddish, childish happiness they had when they were a child for basically no reason. And I don't think it works that way. I think as a man, the only way you're going to be happy is if you do shit you don't want to do. You have to make yourself happy by looking at a mountain and going, fuck's sake. And then getting to the top and going, thank God that's done. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's no other way to do it. You're not just going to be happy by default. You have to go through pain. And if you're not prepared to go through pain, you're not going to be happy. And it's also the way you label yourself. Like, I truly am, like I said, I don't believe in things that take power away from me. And people wake up and go, oh, I'm not happy today or otherwise. I believe happy can be quite binary. Instead of looking at it as a scale, I think unless you're distraught, unless you're genuinely about to cry your eyes out because of loss of a family member or something, unless you're distraught, which hopefully doesn't happen very often, then you're happy. You may be slightly less happy than the other day, but you're still happy overall. Like, as long as nothing bad has happened, you have to wake up and go, okay, I'm alive. My people around me are alive. It's a happy day. It's a mindset. It's a happy day. Okay, I got stuck in traffic, whatever, but it's a mindset. But you're completely right about going through difficult things. And obviously as a fighter, you know that very well. And even now, people say to me, Andrew, why don't you just take your money and just retire and just chill? I'm like, I'd be miserable.
Yeah, just chill.
I need, maybe I'm not fighting in the cage. Now I'm fighting the Matrix and all the social media companies. I can't stop. I need something to go against. Yeah. It's just like some men are born that way. Otherwise, why did Genghis Khan keep conquering?
That's just what human biology is. We're here to do shit. We're here to work. We're not here just to chill.
Yeah.
Like retiring from what? From working. As long as you enjoy work, it's not fucking work.
You need a purpose, and a purpose is not always going to be, sunshines and rainbows, and there has to be a degree of difficulty to it, and there has to be a degree of pain involved, and there has to be a degree of risk, because risk and reward are linked. Fighting's the ultimate risk reward. Yeah. There's risk and reward are linked. If you want a huge reward with no risk, well then what you're gonna do? You end up playing video games, wasting your life. Mm-hmm. That's kind of how it goes. So yeah, happiness is a very interesting subject for men. And when I got attacked by the Matrix, when they attacked me and they accused me of all these different things, et cetera, which is numerous and all incorrect, I was explaining, and they were saying to me, oh yeah, but the expectations you're giving of men of life is unfair and all this crap. And I was saying, no, I'm just saying that the only life worth living as a man is a man of dedication and purpose and becoming important. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying if you're Joe Schmo as a man, it sucks. So stop being Joe Schmo.
Yeah,
And
I
they're like,
thought what
well,
you were preaching to the younger generation. I haven't listened to everything, but I really didn't see anything that I was like, wow. A lot of people are mad about that. Like, you're preaching to the younger generation, they're gonna be pieces of shit when they grow up. I'm like, they're just, a lot of people are pussies and they need to fucking be men or learn
completely.
how to be men.
I'm telling the younger generation that if they don't get up and work hard and make sure that they're important, that the world's not going to give a shit about them.
Yeah.
And 99% of my content was aimed at men. It had nothing to do with women at all.
Yeah.
They attacked me with the misogyny garbage. But the truth is 99% of my content was aimed at men, telling them the truth, saying that as a man, you're born with no inherent value. You have to become important. You have to go through some pain or go through some suffering to make people care about you. Otherwise, you're not going to matter. And when I say this about the difference between men and women, they think I'm attacking females. Absolutely not. I'm not attacking women. I'm just saying that a woman can wake up, put makeup on, go to the club or go to the party and still be a jewel. She still exists. People still want her. Mm-hmm. As a dude, if you walk into the party and you've put no effort into your life, nobody gives a shit. Mm-hmm. Nobody gives a shit about you. And every man out here knows. And one of the great things about the masculine journey and masculinity is that we've all lived a semi-similar story. It's kind of cool. Like, we've all been the teenager, gets heartbroken. We've all been unimportant. We've all like worked hard and then started to get some clout. And then we've all kind of lived the same kind of journey. So I say to everybody out there, yeah, if you don't follow that path and follow that journey and in one way or another get to the top, whether it's fighting, whether it's comedy, whether it's musician, whatever it is, if you're just going to stay somewhere near the bottom and then at the age of 44, email me saying I'm depressed. Well, of course you're depressed because you're a fucking loser.
Yeah.
But that was your choice because you have to build yourself as a man. And if you decide not to build yourself, then your life's going to suck. And this also comes into, I think even maybe you may have, I saw one of your TikToks. It was really good. And I think it was, it was you training. And I think it might have been one of the things I said before.
Oh,
saying,
yeah.
Why would I have mercy on somebody why would I see somebody as my equal? Why would I sit there and see you as my equal when I've suffered my entire life to be valuable and you've refused to suffer and just sit around on your ass all the time?
Good.
When I've gone through endless pain to be the man I am, and then you just sit there and talk like we're equals. We're not equals. I've been through shit. You decided not to go through shit. That's fine. That was your life decision. That's your prerogative.
Yeah.
But you have to live with those decisions. You can't complain now that I get to be top G and you don't. That was your choice.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, that's the thing about being a man. And that's what I was saying to the kids. It's like, look, you need to get up and it's going to be very, very difficult. The world's getting harder and harder, especially for men. It's all clout. It's all status. There's no way you're going to matter unless you get up and you work extremely hard. And for some reason they thought I was toxic and I had to be deleted. But
yeah,
I think it's other reasons.
And then they promote Jeffrey Dahmer. They have Jeffrey Dahmer costumes. Jeffrey Dahmer's all over YouTube. It's
all
a big
over
Netflix thing.
Yeah.
Everyone loves him. It's this great thing. I'm like,
he fucking chopped him up.
It's kind of weird because I, to a degree, maybe about 7-8 years ago, thought of myself as an atheist. And now I am absolutely and utterly religious. And I'm religious because you can't believe in Satan without believing in God. And I look around me and I just see evil everywhere. Yeah. I just see evil. The agendas being pushed on children are evil. What the Matrix wants us all to believe is evil. The bullshit they're trying to make you inject in your arm is evil. It's all just evil. I'm just looking at all this shit going, this is all, none of this is based in pro-humanism or genuine humanity. This is all just evil. So I think if you're telling the truth nowadays, to a degree, you're doing the work of God, and that's why I'm doing it. I sit there and I say, no, I refuse to sit here and be told I'm the worst thing for children when we have, music stars twerking on the devil, or the propagation of chopping up your genitalia, or the propagation of absolute promiscuity, all this crazy shit they're showing to the kids all day long, and then they want to come along and say I'm evil for saying you need to go to the gym.
Yeah. Well, speaking of religion too. Is something that we talk about a lot of open relationships, marriage, having one wife, one partner. It's like that's all pretty recent. That's not from way back in the day. For me, I've been married. I don't even like the word married, but I've been married to Danny for like 7 years. We get along great, but I'm in Abu Dhabi. I go out there, knock out Peter Yan. I hook up with a bad chick. I fly home. My life's good, dude. We're not gonna break up because of that moment, because our lives are so good back home. We enjoy our life. We wake up, sleep together, eat together, go to the gym together. Like, we enjoy our life so much. For me, and a lot of people will do that and then tell their wife, no, I didn't do that. Yeah. But we've been in that relationship for so long. It's like, why would that moment ruin everything we have back home?
Yeah, and there's many different forms of relationships, and I think they say, I can't remember who it was, but some nun. She asked a bunch of dying people what their biggest regrets were, and the first one was working so much, and the second was not living true to their imperatives or living true to what you really want to do. And when I say the things I say, I get a lot of backlash from feminist males and feminists, etc. But I think if you were to ask any man on the planet and say, look, you have your woman, you love her, she loves you, she's not going to leave. She's not going to leave. Do you want to fuck this bitch? Well, is she going to leave? No, she's not going to leave. She's with you. She's, look, all right, fuck it then. Why not?
Dude, every single man I've hung out with behind the closed doors, away from their wife, they're like all about it.
That's why it's so annoying to me when the Matrix attacks me and pretends that these things aren't absolutely true. It's just human nature, right? Yeah. It's masculine human nature. And I'm just sitting here. It's kind of crazy that I've blown up on the internet for saying water is wet. It's like, I'm sitting here saying girls can't drive, dudes like pussy. Oh no! It's like, what do you want me to do? Like, I'm just sitting here telling the truth, and you're right. If a woman truly respects you, certainly in my experiences, if a woman truly respects you and truly loves you, she might get upset by it, she might cry about it, she might get a bit mad about it, but she ain't gonna go nowhere. And if she does leave, then perhaps there's some other problem in the relationship. I give you a bunch of examples. Like, there's been times I've been with girls, and they've been amazing, beautiful women head to toe. I'm like, why'd you split up with your ex? Like, oh, he cheated on me. And she left him. And then I'll cheat left, right, and center, and she'll never leave. So it's just like, it depends if she really likes you as a man, and that's kind of how it is. And yeah, to pretend to sit there and live true to the way society wants you to live and not live true to completely to yourself, I think a lot of people will regret. And also, especially in the masculine frame, I talk about this a lot. Your relationship you just described is far more healthy than the men who lie.
Yeah.
It's far more healthy. I say this as well. So I don't want to talk about it because I've talked about it a billion times. But I used to have a webcam company. I used to have girls who sat there on webcam, blah, blah, blah. And I used to say that those men who are loyal to their wives, right? They're loyal to their wives. They only want to be with their wife. That's fine. Respect. Good. But if you spend every single night spending your life savings talking to some 19-year-old in Ukraine and you're truly in love with this girl, okay, you may never see her. You may not know her real name. That to me is more cheating than just banging a bitch and forgetting about her.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like sitting there being completely in love and sending away the family savings to some chick. Yeah. Oh, he's a loyal man. Is he? Yeah. Like it's kind of weird, and the whole idea of male loyalty as well is skewed because there's a whole bunch of men out there who can't get anything else to talk about being loyal. So duh, you can't fuck nothing. Yeah, of course.
You've clearly said though, like multiple times, girls are way smarter than guys in a lot of fucking ways.
You wouldn't bring your kid to an all guys daycare.
The thing is, this is what's so annoying when they say I'm a misogynist. Like, I hype women up all the time. I say that we're different, we have different strengths and different weaknesses, and that women are fantastic at so many things, and they ignore all of that. They ignore all of it. They take the one part where I said they can't part.
Yeah,
it's stupid.
If your girl is like, I think if your girl's I've been with my girlfriend for 13 years. Yep. She lets me smash some biscuits on the side once in a while. If your girl's truly your best friend, like truly is, and you can sit down and say, hey, I have a wiener and nuts, and this is how I think. It's completely different than you. I know it's gonna be hard for you to understand. But if you can explain that to her and really explain it to her, yeah, it might hurt her feelings a little bit at first, but then like let her look at it, let her think about it and talk about it with her. But I think it's 90% of guys will never do that. They sign the contract and they're like, okay, here's my life with my wife, and here's my life with my buds.
And it's also kind of like, I think it's also how they see you, right? So one of the advantages I always had in my life is that if I had a girlfriend and I fucked someone else, whatever, my girlfriend would say, Andrew, I know you so well, there ain't no pussy that's gonna get you tripping, so it's fine.
Yeah.
You know, if they think you're like soft, you're gonna fall in love with some other bitch, then it's all fine. But if they're like, you're a heartless cunt, so it's fine. I can barely get any love out of you, and it's been years. It's like, so it's kind of like how much trust they have in you as well, and how much faith they have in you and the kind of man you are as a whole. But we're all humans, right? Living a human experience, and the idea of sitting there completely complying to this one code of conduct because society says so. I think that societal programming and our evolutionary programming are different things, and you have to try and decide. In some areas, it's better to follow the societal programming for sure, but in some areas, I think it's better to be true to your evolution and be true to yourself, and I think that's just
But then they change, don't they? So like in the past, you were saying in the Quran and a lot of the Bibles, guys have multiple wives, but then who later, is it a governing body in these religions that decide, okay, this rule's not working, let's change this rule?
So this is interesting.
Thank our sponsor, VIAA Hemp. Well, they're coming out with some Timbo Sugar Show signature edibles made for training, made for whatever kind of workout you want to do. Super low dose, that'll give you that high, keep you focused. But these edibles are fucking quality. They don't dry you out, they don't dry your eyes out, they don't just make you feel like shit. There's not just some random dose in each edible. They're fucking dialed.
They definitely got to dial the
5 milligrams THC, some of them 50 milligrams of CBD. They just have a bunch of different kinds. So
different ratios.
This is interesting. Yeah. So of course I have a theory on this. It's not necessarily that substantiated, but I just come up with theories on things. So it is important for society as a whole, for monogamousness to be generally promoted. And I think that's because they're trying to remove the base evolutionary instinct for women to just go for the top tier males. That's what they're trying to do. Because if women were told, yes, go share a G, we'd all have like 10 chicks. That's fine. But there's a whole bunch of men with no pussy. And the problem with society is when you're in charge of a society, right? Let's say you're playing SimCity and you have to be in charge of a society. The most dangerous demographic of a society are going to be the men with no pussy. They are the school shooters.
Yeah.
They're the violent ones. They're the criminals. They're the ones who are going to revolt because they want some pussy. They're pissed off all the time. You need to shack them up with somebody to subdue them, right? You need to get them, a guy, even if he's a dork, with some bitch, make them get married, subdue his ass, sexless marriage, pay your taxes, raise the kids who don't love you, stay in your box. If you have a whole huge portion of the population who ain't getting laid, you're going to have massive societal problems. Now, in history, that was solved with war because all the young men had to go to war first to get pussy, and a bunch of them died. That's why you'd have all these huge armies to go to war. But now it's not so much like that. So even if you look at in Western Europe now, where we have these huge problems with crime, et cetera, and a degree of it's down to immigration, et cetera, but it's not because the people coming are bad people. It's because they're coming into the country and they can't get laid. How long are you going to sit around without getting any pussy until you think, fuck this? You're going to do something, right? So I think the reason that monogamy is so heavily promoted is because it's better for society. But what's good for society is not necessarily good for you as an individual. Mm-hmm. Because women instinctively, evolutionarily, are happy to share a top tier dude. I say this all the time on podcasts. I say when a rapper walks in the club, no one's thinking he's going to be loyal. They don't give a shit. They just want him because he's whoever or fucking UFC fighter or whoever, right? So that's kind of the way they're evolutionarily designed. Once you get with them, they can pretend they're not designed that way. But when you walk in the club, you know they're all designed that way. So it's how society functions. The Western societies, they go to keep things in order. We need to make sure that one man, one woman, everyone ticks off into their family boxes. We don't want. Because the truth is, man, like if you have a real G who's really about it and he has no concerns for how society views him, he's going to have 11 women, kids with all of them, and probably not even going to be home with none of them. He'd be out again. Yeah. That's just how he's going to be. Like, fuck it. I come home once a month. Boom, I'm out. Who's going to raise them kids? Who's going to do? It's better for society if it's one man, one woman box. One man, one woman box. That's how they do it. And that's also why a lot of religions advocate that. I know a lot of people call me hypocritical because I talk about God and how I want to purport, how I try and fight against the Satanism in the world, but then I'm also living this X way. But the Bible does talk about the kings and the sultans. That I think it's just knowing your place on the ladder, right? But yeah, that's my basic answer. I think society wants it because it's good for society, not because it's good for men. The majority of men are in sexless marriages and miserable. That's the majority.
100%, I agree. It's an interesting theory.
The majority of men are sitting there in sexless marriages and miserable. And I know this for a fact because that's how I first became a millionaire. Mm-hmm. Married men on webcams, sitting there telling some 19-year-old girl they ruined their life. Yeah. Just sitting there crying their eyes out, sending their savings. So I saw it for years. I saw it.
Who did you really look up to coming up as a hustler? Like that you were like, damn, I want to be like that. Who made you this way?
That's a good question, man. Like I always knew that there was, I don't know how I knew, but I always intrinsically knew. I talk about the Matrix now, right? But I always intrinsically knew that the things I was being told to do were lies. As young as I could remember, I always remember being like 15, 14, and my school teacher saying, if you don't do good in your exams, you're going to be broke. And I remember sitting there looking at you going, you're broke. So what the fuck do I listen to you for? Like, I always knew it was bullshit. I didn't have the exact answers, but I always kind of knew it was lies. And there's been a few big events in my life where a few things happened and I realized. But I think intrinsically everybody knows when you see a Lamborghini at a gas station at 3 a.m, you're not thinking, wow, he went to school. You're thinking drug dealer. Mm-hmm. You're thinking drug dealer, gangster, mafia, whatever. Rapper, yeah. You're thinking intrinsically he is doing something outside of the norm to live this life. So I always knew the norm was garbage, but I didn't know exactly what to do, right? So that's why I picked up fighting. Because, when I was fighting, I'll say this now openly, one of the biggest advantages I had back when I was fighting is I just didn't give a fuck if I lived or died. I was semi-depressed. I just didn't give a shit. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow we're doing a fight, cool. I tried to, Badr Hari had a fight, I think it was here in Dubai against, he ended up fighting some guy from England. I can't remember his name, some Russian guy, whatever. I was trying to take that fight in a day's notice for like 10 G's. I was in like for like 10 grand. Yeah, Badr Hari's massive. He's much bigger than me. I was like, yeah, give me the fight. I just didn't give a fuck, right? Now I got things to live for. But back then, like it was kind of get rich or die trying, and fighting was the only thing I knew or I was good at that I could even consider. Because even before the internet, Well, now with the internet, you have a whole bunch of kids with money and shit. Before the internet, you didn't have no crypto kids or some podcast kid or whatever. Yeah. Now you see 20-year-olds worth 200 million. Back like only 15 years ago, there was none of that. So when I was young, it was just like you had to get a job, and it was just depressing. It just sucked. I didn't want to do it.
The fucking YouTube game changed it, huh?
It did change it, but I don't know if this is even good, man. Like the last bull run with crypto, for example. I made a bunch of money. Everyone made a bunch of money.
You pulled it out at the right time?
I made a bunch of money with crypto. I made a bunch. But I also have made a bunch of money the hard way my entire life. And I also fought for a long time. And I understand hard work. And I also have a good grasp of business. And I understand people management, et cetera. So even the companies I run now, I run them very much like I used to run my old companies. Even when I had my webcam company, people think I was living like Dan Bilzerian. Not at all. It was very professional outfit. It was a business. I wasn't there trying to get laid. I was trying to make money. So it was very, very professional. But a lot of these kids, like they catch a crypto pump. They made like 200 or 300 G's. Now they think they're too good to work. You're 19. You made 200 grand on some crypto coin. They all went up. You're not a genius. The whole market went up. Now it's down. And they're sitting there going, oh yeah, the next pump. Bro, you're 19. You've never had a fucking job. You don't understand stress. You don't understand people management. You don't understand how to sell. You don't understand branding. You don't understand anything. And you're sitting there going, I'm going to get the next pump and I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm so clever. You're not clever. You're a dickhead. You're a jackass. So crypto's made a whole bunch of people into fucking morons. And you look at these kids who think they're too good for a job because they caught a pump. You're not too good for a job, sir. You need to get back to McDonald's where you belong. You don't know shit. So it's another 4 years before that crap comes around again. So crypto's messed a lot of people up, and so is YouTube. Everyone wants to be a YouTuber now. Everyone wants to be a influencer. Nobody wants to do any real work. I don't know if you saw, there was a study where it asked a bunch of kids in America what they wanted to be, and it said YouTuber, and they asked a bunch of kids in China, and they said like engineer, astronaut. We're fucked, bro.
Well,
we're fucked.
They say TikTok in China is a bunch of like they're learning.
Yep.
That you scroll through a video, you learn something. You scroll in America, it's just fucking some girl's butt cheeks twerking up and down.
Well, I think TikTok, especially in the West, is designed to divide society and to cause problems. And I'm the most viral man on TikTok. So I'm going to sit here and I can't, I think the reason my videos to a degree are purported is because it makes people fight. And I think that's why TikTok does it. It likes the comments, it likes the arguments, etc. Now I know I'm telling the truth, but there's also a bunch of people who want to deny reality and argue with me. But yeah, certainly TikTok in the West is designed to create division, whereas in the East it's designed to do the opposite and be harmonious and create a harmonious society. And it's really interesting, man. The world, even as it currently stands, I look at the East and how their societies function. There's all the pros, but there's also all the cons. They're still locked in their houses in Shanghai. They're still locked up, because they're scared of the government. But then also in other ways, they're far more competitive than we'll ever be in terms of global infrastructure and all these kind of things. So yeah, the world's a mess. I don't know what world our children's children are going to live in.
It's scary.
It's scary, bro. It's scary because the last vestiges of freedom are vanishing in real time. It's kind of scary. It's crazy.
Speaking of children, you want any, or do you have any running around that you don't know of, Pri?
Yeah, I can't say here. I've got feral psychopaths who dislike me, and I've got a lot of enemies in the world.
Yeah,
but let's leave it at that. I'm not going to say whether I have children or not, but if I did, nobody would know about it, and I certainly wouldn't want my kids to be all over social media from a young age, etc. And one of my biggest concerns about raising children now is that I grew up very, very poor. And I think being poor with good parents is the best way to be raised.
Yeah.
And now I'm filthy rich and it's problems. So I have to put him back in the ghetto somehow. I'm going to be like, no, you're back in the ghetto. And it's hard to do, right? Because to be in the ghetto truly, you have to truly know safety net.
Yeah.
You can't be in the ghetto a little bit, then it goes wrong, then dad bails him.
Yeah.
Nah, it has to be now. Welcome to the struggle.
I have a 2-year-old, and navigating through raising a little princess is
Dude,
it's gonna be enjoyable though. It's gonna be tough, but
being poor with good parents is the best way to be raised.
It's
the best way to be raised. Mm-hmm. I know these people who were born rich. In fact, if you talk about miserable upbringing, I think that being born rich is probably the absolute worst.
Yeah,
because in life, you don't notice. It's like driving 200 miles an hour. It doesn't feel fast. It's the acceleration that feels fast. If you're born at 200 miles an hour, what are you trying for? What are you striving for? Mm-hmm. Well, where's your fire inside? You have everything you want. You think a Ferrari is going to make you happy? You don't give a shit.
Right.
And then you're just one of those kids in the party who's just saying, I'm so rich, I'm so rich, I'm so rich. And like, yeah, but you're also a dork. Nobody cares. And it's just your life shit. You have nowhere to go. I think being born at the top would absolutely and utterly suck. Being born at the bottom, but given the drive from your parents to climb the mountain, that's the only thing that's fun. The only thing that's fun about being rich is talking about being broke. Yeah. Like that's the only thing that's cool about it. Me and my brother do this all the time. People say, hey, you guys got $500 million. What's fun? I'm like sitting around talking about when we were poor. That's it. Getting on a jet and going, remember when we couldn't go on jets? Like if you've been on jets your whole life, it's just this
Fucking
hedonistic
accurate.
adaptation. It's boring.
Anxious and depressed.
Yeah, you're anxious and depressed and you're sad, right? Yeah. So none of this rich people shit is fun unless you've done a whole bunch of brokey shit first. You got to remember the good old days. And it's kind of crazy like how quick you get used to it all and how quick it just becomes normal and how quick you're just like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, 5-star hotel. Yeah, whatever. Room
New
service.
watch.
Yeah, new watch. It's just whatever. It just gets whatever. I bought a new car yesterday. I didn't give a shit for more than 2 minutes. By the time I got out the driveway, I'm like, oh, yeah, park it. I didn't even driven it.
2 minutes of happiness.
Yeah, it's just how it gets. It gets there. So it's.
You read any books?
I don't read.
You used to at all?
I've only read one book and I was in a jail cell. So, I know there's a lot of knowledge in books and I respect people who read because it takes a degree of patience that I don't have.
Yeah.
Bro, my brain, even me as a person, I need to start doing what you do because my brain is fried. Social media has fucked my brain up. For me to focus on things is so difficult. I can focus on driving fast cars, fighting, or making a bunch of money. Anything else, I can't. It's just like your brain's constantly distracted and you have so much in your mind all the time. For me to try and read a book, I'm just like, oh, hurry up. I'm literally thinking hurry up as I read. It just takes too long.
Dude, imagine if after you had a full day of work, you just went, took a little rip of the weed.
Nah, bro, I've never even tried drugs in my life. Never tried.
Really?
Never
Except
tried.
caffeine.
Caffeine's fucking.
Well, caffeine is the miracle drug from God. You know what? I watched a super interesting study on caffeine. You guys should YouTube it. It's a documentary. It was on Joe Rogan. A guy was talking about caffeine and how caffeine changed the entire world. Like before caffeine, people were just living within the cycles of the sun, et cetera. But when caffeine came, they started doing night shifts and double shifts and the Industrial Revolution. Damn. And the idea of the coffee break was launched by companies because why would you give your employees time off? If you gave them half an hour break and coffee, they made more money than if they carried on working. And caffeine's this miracle drug. And he made a really interesting point. He said, most people live their lives caffeinated. And I'm thinking, yeah, I've had 20 coffees a day every single day since I can fucking remember. I can't remember what life's like without caffeine.
And the only time you don't drink caffeine for me is when I get sick. And I'm like, I just want to feel normal.
Yeah.
If you got a fucking cold or sore throat, you're like, I don't want caffeine. It's the only time I don't drink caffeine.
I quit coffee for a week and there was absolutely zero advantages. I didn't sleep any better, really.
Turned into a beta.
I didn't sleep any better. I was tired all the time. I was late. Like there was nothing good came of it. Yeah. I was like, give me that fucking cup. Yeah. Give me 10 of them. Like I don't. Maybe you'll give me a heart attack. I don't know. But yeah, caffeine's the miracle drug.
When did you start getting good at debating people?
That's a good question. I'm not entirely sure, but I do certainly watch all of my podcasts back. I watch myself back. I think if you're going to be speaking for a living, you should be good at it. It actually amazes me how many people do podcasts and are still sitting around going, like that's your fucking job, bro.
Yeah.
Imagine being a fighter and just messing up and getting hit with every jab, like a dummy.
Yeah.
Like if that's your job, but then practice. Like
watching yourself back's huge for fighting. I watch all my rounds back. I watch all my shit back. It's the best way to reflect on what's actually happening.
Completely. You have to analyze yourself. So if I have a debate and I thought it was tricky, I'll certainly watch it back and I'll realize where I made a mistake or where I could have done better, et cetera, et cetera. So I watch all my own stuff. But I've always been pretty good at speaking. I've always had a big mouth, you know, mm-hmm. So I've always been pretty good at it and pretty good at articulating my ideas. But I think the reason that people hate debating against me so much is because they know intrinsically I'm right. They know I'm right. When I say these things, they know I'm right. Mm-hmm. But I've had a bunch of arguments with feminists. I'm like, listen, you can be a feminist, but you will not be a feminist if a predator breaks in this door right now. Yes, I would. No, you would not. Who are you lying to? Are you lying to me or the audience or yourself? If someone broke into this room right now with intent to kill, your feminism would be out the window. You're living in a false paradigm and you're living in a lie. And the reason you live in this lie is because there are men, not women, who will protect you. Because if I were to try and harm you, you'd call police, and they are men. And the men would come with a threat of violence against me. So you're not a pacifist, and you're not a feminist. You are full of shit. That's what you are. And men allow you to have these ideas. Well, if all of your ideas are supported by men who are prepared to fight for you, then you're not. Then it's not female-led, is it? Mm. It's all male-led from head to toe. Yeah. Men have to come in and say, no, we stand by her. She's allowed to say men are shit. Otherwise, she's not allowed to say it. So all of it's garbage. And they know I'm right. And then they get really mad at me. And I get canceled.
Sound like Piers Morgan.
And I get canceled. Yeah. So that's kind of how it goes. But yeah, it's interesting.
What about your diet? How you stay so lean?
I eat once a day, about once a day, and that's it. I don't have a clean diet at all.
Really? What do you eat?
Whatever's going.
Pussy.
Whatever's on the table, bro. Like I'm the least picky eater ever. Whatever turns up, I'll eat. Loads of coffee. I like lots of coffee.
That's probably what makes you only be able to eat once a day because it suppresses your appetite.
And so does nicotine. And I smoke cigars. Cigars have never really damaged my stamina, I don't think, really.
Really?
Yeah, cigarettes are different, but
Yeah.
cigars.
Dude, I feel like a brain like yours, a puff of some good organic weed one time and just sit there.
No, I don't want... The reason I've never tried drugs in my life, I've never tried cocaine, I've never tried weed, I've never tried steroids, I've never tried anything in my life ever, is because I know I'm going to like it.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I know if I smoke that, I'm going to want it.
But you have self-discipline.
I do have self-discipline, but I also live in a country where that shit's completely unacceptable.
Yeah,
that
changes.
I live in
that
Romania,
changes
right?
it.
So
Yeah.
in Romania, if you get busted with that stuff, you're in big trouble. It's kind of like here. And it's just like, I've gotten this far without it.
Yeah.
It's kind of... And also, when we talk about happiness and the things we were talking about earlier, I actually genuinely enjoy being stressed and anxious all the time. I enjoy it. I don't want to relax. I like that I woke up at 7 a.m. It's now 11:30 p.m. and I'm at my desk screaming at my staff, typing away furiously. That's just how I live my life.
Yeah.
I can't think of times I ever truly relax. And then this is how I got ahead. And then you get ahead and then you want to stay ahead.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just like the anxiousness is like endless motivation for me. There's always something to do. There's always work to do. There's always something that can be done better. I can't imagine a relaxed me. I can't imagine it. I don't know. I'm always doing something. And the people around me say the same thing. I've never seen you just relax. I was like, I can't.
Taking one rip, just being like,
Yeah. Relaxing's fun, bro. Yeah, I've never
eating.
Yeah, I've never done it. And when I was fighting, it was different, right? Because you train so hard, you need to sleep and stuff. But once you take away all the proper training for fight, like I train a little bit each day. When you take away the proper fight training, it's just I don't know. You have to conquer the world. You have to fight the Matrix.
You got a good set of buddies back home, just a set group that you hang out with?
Yeah, so I've got the same friends I had when I was poor, so I haven't made any new friends. I hang around with my brother and my cousin and a couple other guys I've known since back in the olden days, and that's basically it.
It's pretty much us too, huh?
Yeah, that's us.
Yeah, new friends are just a pain in the ass.
Yeah, you don't know what they want. You don't know what people want. The higher level you get, the higher level scumbags that come around, and that's the fucking truth.
It really is the truth, and also like you get to a certain degree of status and clout, etc. You have to sit there and accept like these people want to hang around me when the bottles are popping, but if it goes off in the club, they're gonna leave me to get my face smashed in. Like, why am I even hanging around with these people? Like, what are they giving me? Are they funny? I'm like, fuck you. I don't need to hang around with you. So, yeah, I try my very best to not really make new friends. I try and keep my circle as small as possible and people I've been with since the beginning, and it's easier that way. And obviously, you have a whole bunch of Matt. You guys get the same.
Yeah.
You know what it's like.
But something I like you said, and it's everyone said it, or anyone that's been successful. You are who you surround yourself with. And that's so fucking powerful, especially for the younger kids. You are who you surround yourself with, and if you have a group of just turds, you're gonna be a fucking turd too.
And that's what's amazing, that everyone understands that you are some of the 5 people you spend the most time with, but they still don't create their reality and they still hang around with dorks.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you doing that? Like, if you hang around with killers, you're going to be the 5th killer. You may not be the number 1 killer in your group, but you're going to be the 5th killer amongst the populace. You're going to do better. And it's the same with everything, man. It's the same with money. The number of times I've sat in rooms and there's people talking about money to a level even I don't have a clue what they're even talking about. And I'm like, I'm in the right room.
Yeah.
Because they're saying words I haven't heard yet.
Yeah.
So this is the place to be, right? You need to be doing that shit. If you're just hanging around a bunch of brokies, then you're gonna stay a brokey. And I say this, and then people go, oh yeah, but how do I make rich friends? Well, then you got to provide a value to them because life's value exchange. You have to be valuable to rich people in some way, or valuable to hardworking, dedicated people in some way. And it's not hard to do if you actually want to get up and work. I've had a bunch of people come to me and just offer me things like, hey man, I'll just take photos of your cars. I'll make an Instagram page and I'll make a big page of all the photos of your cars. You haven't got to do anything. And I'll be like, all right, cool. Now he's in my inner circle, right? And I'm worth a bunch of money. If you would just come to me and go, hey bro, teach me how to make money, I'm like, who the fuck are you? Mm-hmm. So it's like, you have to find a way to provide value to people. But I also, and I don't want to be negative or pessimistic. I also really truly believe a lot of people are exactly where they deserve to be in life.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of people who go, oh, I'm at the bottom, man. You deserve to be there. Mm-hmm. Because if you truly, I think the universe and God is extremely giving. And if you truly dedicate yourself and truly try your very best, there's no way he's going to leave you at the bottom. Mm-hmm. When I see someone who's true at the bottom, I was like, you couldn't have given it everything. If you give it everything you've got and try your absolute best, the universe refuses to leave you down there at the bottom. I don't believe in that.
if you're staying disciplined with good habits for fucking 10 plus years, you're going to get an opportunity somewhere.
You know what I mean, right? And that's exactly my point. So when I see people and they're like, yeah, you know, it's hard and life's hard, etc. I'm like, bro, you've had enough human hours to do more than you've done. And I refuse to believe you've tried your absolute best. And that's how the universe works. And there's always going to be a hierarchy. And I actually think that the world is pretty fair. There's the odd exception, but I think it's pretty fair. The people at the top deserve to be there. The people at the bottom, kind of to some degree, you know, they didn't try as hard as they should have, and they deserve to be there. And what's actually interesting is I grew up completely broke. Now I have a little bit of money. And even me, when I see people who are like completely broke and just like, oh, this is so hard, I'm unlucky, da-da-da, I feel disdain. I'm like, you're full of shit. I don't like you. So imagine how much the world elites hate all of us.
Yeah.
They must think of us like pure peons,
Work
like
harder.
the dummies. Like, imagine if you've been born like a billionaire for the last 10 generations. Of course, they must look at us like absolute scum. Because even me, I've only been rich 10 years, and I'm sitting there going, shut up, bro. Like, so it's how it goes.
Dude, even with fighters, it's like, okay, we train hard an hour and a half in the morning. You have the whole day, and then you train hard an hour and a half in the night. Yeah. Like, what are you doing between those fucking hours? Like, we're usually hustling on something else. When you were fighting, what would you do in those in-betweens?
Yeah, so I had a few different businesses back then. So I had a business where I sold television advertising. I was doing that for a while. Some things I can't say on podcasts, etc. Then I found the webcam thing, which I've told the story of. I found that, and I was doing that in between. And
you were hustling though, but you were just sitting around.
Nah, not at all. I had to sleep and I had to eat, but in between that, I was trying to make money. Yeah. You need to have money to have an opinion in life. Like, I couldn't be saying the things I'm saying now on the internet if I was a brokey. Because even the way the Matrix has attacked me and attempted to destroy me, even at my level, it's been a genuine assault. Like, it's not just your social medias. It's your payment processor. It's your bank. It's imaginary court cases over imaginary shit. It's journalists contacting every ex-girlfriend you ever had saying, we'll pay you £50,000 if you have a bad story about Andrew. That's effectively a bribe. Make one up. Damn. They don't ask for proof. Damn. Just make up a story. We'll give you 50 G's. It's contacting all your exes, everyone who you've ever done business with, anyone who dislikes you, investigative journalists calling up everybody, trying to get, bro, it's a scary thing to sit there and go through. And you're like, how many bitches have I fucked? Shit. One of them's going to dislike me. And what's actually a miracle, it's not even a miracle, it's actually testament to how nice a guy I am in general. Not a single woman's come forward. I have no accusations. No woman's come forward saying anything. There's a video and the girls come forward 3 times saying, listen, that was ages ago and it was consensual, whatever, da-da-da. Not a single woman's coming out saying I'm a bad guy. And any man who's red-blooded sits here and goes, think of your last 10 exes. Would one of them sell you out for 50 G's? Probably, you know? So I've done well. So the idea they're trying to say that I'm somehow a danger to women is absolutely not really clown shit. But when the Matrix attacked me, I knew it was coming because of how orchestrated it was. I woke up one day and all these charities and NGOs, these shadow things, all at the same day started making articles. Like the same morning, like 20 different charities from all around the world the same day did an article on how I'm bad. So that's weird. And then the next day, like every major LGBTQ Instagram page, bang, did a post on me. Like, it's in sync. Mm-hmm. Bam, 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 bam. And I was like, I know I'm done. I knew I was done. And I did a post and said, look, everyone's trying to say I'm a bad guy. As God's soldier, I'm going to turn negativity into light. Every single like on this Instagram post, I'm going to donate $2. $1 to men's mental health and $1 to protect women from domestic abuse. We got to the point where I was about to donate $3 million. Said at the end of 7 days, we're going to count, I'm going to donate the money. But they're still attacking me. And the media ignores that post completely. It just keeps purporting all these lies, et cetera, et cetera. And then they deleted my Instagram. And I didn't even appeal it. I just wrote to Instagram and said, confirm the number of likes on that picture so I can donate the money. And they still didn't reply to me. Fuck. So it's like, once they aim to
Let's
get
take
you,
a quick second to shout out a great new partner here at the Timbo Sugar Show, CHOQ. That's CHOQ.com. It's been a while since we had an all-natural supplement here at the Timbo Sugar Show, and our friends at CHOQ have stepped up. They're the only natural supplement products worthy of the sugar stamp approval. Sometimes guys who eat really healthy, well, train hard, and are in good shape don't see the need for supplements. The thing is, they like to take every natural advantage they can get. Men's testosterone levels are at an all-time low, and not a day goes by that I don't see a guy who had a bad diet early on in their life, low levels of testosterone naturally, that could use an extra boost beyond their training. CHOQ has created a new natural testosterone booster that's taking the sports nutrition and natural health world by storm, and I prefer CHOQ for several reasons. The supplement industry is filled with weak, trashy, and dirty supplements, and guys at CHOQ are proud to stand above the rest. CHOQ uses full disclosure labeling. They tell you exact amount of each ingredient, never use proprietary blends. No label fluffing or underdosing. All natural ingredients, measured exact clinical research. Along with CHOQ Daily, be sure to check out their male vitality stack and stack ultra. As the holiday season approaches, give the gift of better health to yourself and others. Check out CHOQ, CHOQ.com. And while you're there, be sure to use the promo code SUGAR, all caps, at checkout for 35% off your entire order. They want to start off with a bang and get all our fans here with the shows in the best shape for the new year. That's CHOQ.com, promo code SUGAR. This shit's fire, dude. We got these new espresso machines and put a couple scoops of it in our iced mocha Mariah's been making, and it's like so fucking good and quality ingredients. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
They aim to get you. They smear you and they delete you, and then they continue with the lies once they think you have no voice. And it's kind of scary how orchestrated it is. It's not like just, accidental. Like every media outlet in the world running the same story in the same day at the same time. Like someone decided to get rid of him. It's crazy.
Scary.
It's scary because first they delete you, and then after that is imaginary charges and send you to jail, and the third is put a bullet in your head. So it's like I've kind of used up one of my lives.
Yeah.
So you're sitting there going, now what? Right? So then you got to get scared. Then you get a bit scared. So when they were contacting and calling all these people, I was like, they're trying to drum up some charges on me.
Yeah.
They're just trying to find a reason to send me to jail for no reason. So it is scary, man, when the Matrix attacks. Like no matter how insulated you are against it, you do sit there and go, oh, here we go.
Who are some other big people that have gotten just deleted?
So they got Trump. They got Alex Jones. They tried to get Joe. Remember during the COVID thing when he told the truth about COVID?
Yeah.
And he managed to, obviously Joe Rogan's Joe Rogan. At a certain size, you're much harder to get. You're a bigger fish, right? But they were going for him hard.
Yeah.
And what did he do? Ask a question?
I think he asked a question and said the N-word.
Well, Spotify stuck by him.
But he didn't say the N-word. This is the point. He asked a question about COVID. That's what pissed them off.
Yeah,
and then they started digging like they did on me. Yeah. And they found some old video and they did it. And this is what they do, man. It's like the way they'll attack you and the lengths they'll go to are genuinely scary. I don't know where these people get their time. What's also kind of interesting is the second I got attacked, my Wikipedia page overnight was completely decimated, right? They deleted all the fight stuff, deleted my fight record, pretend I had nothing to do with fighting, called me a rapist, called me a misogynist, called me all these things. And then it got locked somehow by some high-level wiki editor. So now it's just a smear page, locked. Like I don't know who these people are.
I think it's up now, though.
Maybe someone's trying. I've had people trying to repair it. Right? I don't really give a shit, but I said, look, anyone who knows people at Wikipedia, and I'm lucky. I have a whole bunch of fans who genuinely like me. But if I didn't have that, it'd be nuts. And it's crazy because the media tries to say I'm so hated, and then 99% of the comments on anything I ever do is positive. Everyone I meet in the world is positive. I've never had a negative interaction in real life. Nothing. It's just the media, the Matrix, is trying to purport this false reality on the world. And that's what they do. They did it for the last 3 years with the fucking garbage. That's what they do. They just make up a fucking scenario, delete the other side of the argument, and they want you to live underneath it. And it's crazy. It's crazy.
Has Rumble contacted you or anything?
Yeah, so I'm on Rumble now.
Oh, you fuck yeah.
So I'm on Rumble. Rumble CEO Chris is a G.
Is he?
Yeah, he's a G. Such a good guy. Yeah, he's a G. I'm on Rumble now, and I've done fantastic on Rumble. I did better on Rumble than I ever did on YouTube because on YouTube they wouldn't monetize anything anyway. So I didn't miss it out. So I moved to Rumble. My first live stream had like 127,000 people.
Holy shit!
Yeah, they've martyred me.
That's a lot.
Yeah, so they've made a mistake, and I think they know they've made a mistake. And as public sentiment changes, as the redemption arc completes, because everyone was going to pretend I'm bad, and soon they're going to realize I'm not a bad person. I think they're going to offer for me to come back, whether I need it or not is a different thing. But yeah, I'm on Rumble now. The CEO's an absolute. He's absolutely for the cause, and it's fantastic. And I've done really, really well on there. So I'm on Rumble.
What did you think about Steiny? Steiny's a funny fucker. I heard he stole your girl at the club. Is that true?
Yeah. He's a big boss. Big boss with the chicks.
Steiny.
Big boss. Yeah, it's kind of, you know what I've noticed, like living in Eastern Europe, etc. I'm American, right? But Americans just stick out like a sore thumb. You could just see them. When I see Steiny and he's in the club, like trying to talk to all these girls, I'm like, bro, your confidence, you must be American. Like, you're just American. Like, something about Americans have this, like, innate confidence. Yeah. But he's a good guy. All the Nelk guys are good guys. Yeah. I think Steve's moved over to Rumble now as well or something.
Mm-hmm. Have you met Steve yet? Or he wasn't there, right?
Nah, I haven't
Steve's
met
a
him
cool fucker.
Yeah, I heard. But this is an interesting shift. I think that I don't want to be arrogant, but I will take credit for the fact that before I got banned, the idea of getting banned and staying relevant and just being on Rumble wasn't a thing. But now I've done it, and a few other people are starting to do it, and like Russell Brand's moved over, and a bunch of people are getting pissed off with the censorship. And I think that there's enough pressure behind the dam because everyone's pissed off with these companies. And the only crack the dam needs is for someone to stay relevant post-cancellation, which I feel like I'm doing. Yeah. And people are going to say, so you get canceled, doesn't matter. All right, then fuck you. Yeah. And then people are going to start saying, all right, well, then ban me. Like, and then they're going to lose all their power. So it's very interesting. I've said this before. If I was the CEO of one of these social media companies, I'd be perspicacious enough and intelligent enough to not be ideological. I'd sit there and look and go, you know what? Having Tate on side as to a degree controlled opposition was better than him waking people up to the fact that they don't need us. This is going to hurt us more in the long run, banning Tate, than actually getting rid of him. Well, yeah, they haven't got rid of me.
That's what I was about to say. I saw your band. I'm like, what the fuck? I still see you popping up everywhere.
Yeah, I'm still here. Like, you haven't got rid of me. You've just proved that you're tyrannical, proved everything I said right, martyred me, and now pushing huge swaths of traffic to your competitor platform. Like, where's the win there? There's no win. I'm still all over YouTube. Like, they haven't won in any way. But they want to take this ideological stance, and that's what happens when you're fiercely ideological and you throw away your logic and you don't look at things like a logical chess game. You just only care about your ideology and, ideology, and in the end you're going to lose because tyrants never last for long. It doesn't matter what monopoly you have, whether it's the Roman Empire or whatever. You think you're going to be around forever, and sooner or later people get pissed off with you and there's a revolt. And I think that's coming sooner or later because the whole Western world was built on freedom, and they're trying to remove it under the guise of safety, because it's the only thing people will accept in terms for freedom, right? Mm-hmm. If I'm going to take your freedom away, the only way I can do that is to say, but you'll be safe. Mm. So they're trying to throw safety down our necks, and people are pissed off with it. People are tired of it. Like, no, let me make my own decisions.
You keep up, unless the nuclear war happens before any of this shit. You keep up with any of that?
Yeah, man, the Ukraine-Russia war is crazy. I keep up with it. Not only do I super keep up with it, I'm part of like Telegram groups in real time, like full of all the, I think it's because it's next door to me. Romania and Ukraine are next door.
It's scary that Putin, he wakes up, he fucking's on drugs, he has a bad day, he's wanting to off himself, and he says, fuck it. Or even Kim Jong-un, any of these guys that it's just one. Man.
I know, it's nuts. But also the whole geopolitics of it is nuts. And what's actually saddest is, you talk about hierarchy, and we were talking earlier about being an important man. What's sad about any war is it's always the normal people who suffer. And it's also sad in wars where there's never a good guy and a bad guy. One guy's half good, half bad. The other guy's half good, half bad. In the West, they're trying to say Putin's completely the bad guy. He's not. He has reasons, and his reasons are very logical and sound. And anybody who researches it understands what his reasons are. And Ukraine's not completely the bad guy either. So it's a nuanced, difficult one. It's hard. And those are the worst ones. And it's always the people at the bottom of society who get fucked. Even as a man, the men who are getting destroyed in a trench, getting blown to pieces by artillery. And it's terrible, right? Because they don't stand a chance. But they're like the lower levels of society. If you're an important guy, you either got out or you're an officer or whatever. Even if something as baseline as war, if you're a man of high status, you don't end up in the trench. But if you're just Joe Schmo, you end up doing the fucking dirty work. And in a war, it's the worst, man. And it's really a shame because I watch it on both sides and I see it and it almost brings tears to my eyes. All this shit's going to happen. I was in Vietnam with my brother. We were there and we were chilling. I'll say, T, if we were here 20 years ago, we'd be like enemies. And now no one gives a fuck. Now it's hey, you want to party? Want a shot? Mm-hmm. It's like all these people are going to die. And then in whatever time when the war's going to end, it's going to be like, doop-de-doo, on we go. Damn. It's fucking sad, bro. It's really sad. And especially as a man, I feel affinity with all those warriors who are out there. And a lot of them are dying and you never stood a chance. Yeah. You're just sitting there with your boys and boom.
And us in America, we don't hear anything about really the Ukraine and Russia war.
Not too much.
Well, they give you the propagandized version, right? They give you the propaganda that Putin's a crazy man who's lost his mind, and da-da-da. And that's not the case at all. The true case is that NATO, when the USSR fell, NATO said it will not expand 1 inch eastward. That's what they promised Putin. Since then, they've expanded eastward nonstop. They have Lithuania, Estonia, Romania, Poland, Bulgaria, Turkey. They've just expanded, right? They've expanded all the way to Russia's border. And Russia and Putin have taken them to international court repeatedly saying, listen, this is against the rules. You said you're not going to do this. You keep breaking the agreement you signed. if Russia was putting missiles in Canada and Mexico City and expanding towards your border with military bases, you wouldn't be happy either. So he's taken them to court repeatedly. They ignore it. America just vetoes it. They don't respect international law because they're America. They're the big boss. Fuck you. Boom. Veto. So Putin's sitting there saying, listen, I've done everything legally. I've done everything I'm supposed to do. I've told you guys to stop encroaching on us. You keep encroaching on us. You're expanding now, and Ukraine is the final line. You're not going to let Ukraine join NATO. Ukraine gets this new leader funded by the West, and he starts talking about joining NATO. And Russia's like, no, you're not. You're not going to do that. Also, couple into the fact that a lot of ethnic Russians in the East, Ukraine has been decimating them. They talk about what's happening now, but they never talked about this war starting in 2014. Ukraine's been shelling its own towns in the East, which are pro-Russian, for years. So there's people who are living in these pro-Russian settlements getting blown up by their own Ukrainian military. They call them separatists, whatever. So Ukraine's been committing war crimes for a very long time anyway. So Putin's just said, look, Ukraine's the final straw. You're not going to join NATO. And then they start talking too tough about joining NATO. And this is what's kind of interesting about geopolitics, because anyone who's a friend of America is completely arrogant. So the Russians have gone to the Ukrainians and said, listen, in 1991, we were the same country. All of you leaders, you were born as Russians, right? Now you're saying you want to be NATO. That's unacceptable. So we're going to do a deal. No, we're not doing a deal. Fuck you. CIA said fuck you. Damn. And then Putin's like, well, let's talk about this. No, fuck you. CIA said fuck you. Fuck you. Eventually, if your little brother keeps running his mouth, eventually you're gonna be like, listen, you know? Yeah. So it's just kind of like, look at an analogy. You're Russia. NATO is your enemy to a degree. If you see your enemy at the end of your garden, and every day you say don't move, and he takes one step, eventually, are you gonna wait for him to get in the house? Or are you gonna walk out to your garden and say, I fucking told you? Mm-hmm. So like he has his arguments, he has his reasons. Yeah. So and they don't say any of this in the West. And then obviously it's the other argument is that the Ukrainians are sovereign. They can make their own decisions. They decide if they want to join NATO or not. But then you go into it, well, are they sovereign if all their leadership is paid for by the West and it's a puppet fucking regime? Are they even sovereign? You go down the rabbit hole, and it's super interesting because then you start realizing there's a whole bunch of countries in the world where none of their fucking leadership, none of the people actually agree with the leadership. Leadership just seem to get put in somehow, and they're making all these fucking decisions that nobody in the general populace agrees with. And you could extrapolate out to a bunch of Western nations too. And then you start realizing, well, this whole thing's a fucking scam. And then you go down the rabbit hole, then you're a conspiracy theorist, then you get canceled.
Yep.
Or assassinated. So it's scary. It's crazy, man. But it's all on my border because I live in Romania. So like it's all on the Ukraine border. And it's interesting. Yeah, like a bunch of refugees were coming in at the time when it all kicked off. But talking about feminism again, men can't leave. Women and children can leave. But men, if you're a military age male in Ukraine, you have to stay. And you have to fight.
That's scary.
They'll come. Yeah, the police will see you walking down the street and come up and grab you and say, where's your military number? Oh, you're not in the military. And they'll drag your ass to the recruitment station. You're going to fight.
That's crazy.
So, man, and I see a single feminist complain that they're not getting dragged to the front line. Not one. Mm-hmm. So it's amazing how feminism is selective. It's selective, right? It's when life is good and cushy and when I want a CEO job. But it's never the other way around. I'm not saying that men and women are not equal. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that modern feminism in and of itself is a fucking scam and a lie. Like, I think men and women are already pretty equal under the law. I can't think of anything a man can do that a woman can't do legally. Mm-hmm. Can you?
No.
So what are they even fucking arguing about? I'd actually argue that a lot of the law is on the woman's side. If you look at divorce courts and domestic violence accusations and Me Too accusations, there's a whole bunch of laws that actually favor women over men. So that's why the whole idea that women are not treated fairly is a fucking scam. It's bullshit. Yeah.
What you've been on a fuckload of podcasts. What's been your favorite and worst one?
Good question. So Patrick Bet David was fun. That was a good one. That was long.
How long?
5 hours.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's a mental workout right there.
But you know why I have so much respect for him? Because during this cancellation thing, the biggest thing I learned is who's really about it and who's a bitch, right? So before my cancellation, I had no genuine problem with Logan Paul and his boyfriend. I didn't have any problem with either of them. But we had a little bit of banter going back and forth, blah, blah, blah. But then as soon as I got canceled, they flipped so hard to the Matrix's side because they were so scared of getting dragged down, right? So they instantly bitched out. And maybe it's just the old school guy in me, but I don't like hypocrites. I don't like men who are bought and sold. I don't like that, right? Some people have stood up and said, Tate, you're welcome on my platform anytime. You guys did. Patrick Bet David did at the height of the cancellation. He's like, bro, we're going to do a podcast. He's like, bro, they might cancel you. He's like, I don't give a fuck. Guy's a gangster. Let's do it. Bang. Whereas the other guys who were like, oh, Tate's evil. Yeah, Tate's evil. Don't say his name. Tate's evil. Yeah. And they just shit themselves because it's cowardice because they're scared of being canceled. And it's just ridiculous. So it showed me like which people genuinely like the idea of free thought and free opinion, even if they don't agree with me. That's fine. But just the idea of self-expression, that was a nice thing to see. And it also showed me who all the Matrix agents were who instantly shit themselves. And there were also some people, I won't say their names, who I was talking to before and I was going to do their podcast, and then they got canceled and then they shit themselves and still pussied out. So I just don't like cowardice. There's something about cowardice which I think is the most disgusting attribute in a man. When you see a man who's a coward, it's just something that intrinsically I can't stand it. And I think that all the men who pussied out and instantly cucked over to the Matrix side when they were not like that at all pre-cancellation, it just reeks of cowardice, and it's vile. And so it showed me that. So that was interesting. But Patrick Bet-David was a G. So that was a good one.
Christina P, that was a good one too.
Oh, that was so much fun. That was before my cancellation. Yeah, but that was so much fun, man. Tom and Christina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you do that in the United States?
I did that in the States.
Yeah. Yeah,
But,
they're funny.
Yeah, so that's
You fly around a lot? Like, do you always fly private?
always, yeah. Because I never thought I would because it's such a waste of money, but then COVID came and I couldn't be dicked with the fucking bullshit.
Because a flight from here to LA would be
That would be a
300
lot.
grand?
Over the Atlantic is a bunch of money. From here to Europe is like 55, 60 grand. Inter Europe's like 35, 40 grand. And then but if you're going to cross the Atlantic, it's like 150, 200 grand.
How much does it cost to like split a jet with someone and own it and have someone run it?
It's a good question. So I actually owned a jet for about 4 months and then I sold it. It's totally not worth owning one.
Just because you gotta.
It's just easier to just buy it when you need it. Or
Yeah, it's easier
rent
just
it.
to charter one because
Yeah.
if you own it, you're only going to make money if you own it. If you have like a company and it's always flying.
Yeah.
It has to be in the air all the time so that it works out to be cheaper than chartering. But I fly a lot. I probably fly twice a week. And it's still cheaper to charter than it is to own because you're paying for every minute it's parked. You have to get staff. Those staff have to be on a full-time retainer. Otherwise, they're not available when you need them. So you're paying a pilot when you don't use him. You're paying an air hostess when you don't use her. If you drive somewhere, I love to drive. So I'll get in my car in Romania and I'll drive to Switzerland. Now I've got to fly my plane empty. Come get me. Like in the end, it just becomes a fucking hassle and a headache. Whereas if you have a good charter guy, then you can get it all done. So I owned it for a while, and because I didn't use it enough, I ended up renting it out to charters, and I thought this is stupid. So all the people were on my plane, and it was all done. So it's better to just charter them, and that's the best way to do it if you have a few people who are good. But truthfully, like first class is pretty hard to beat. Like across the Atlantic, I still fly first class because first class is.
Take a little shower. I flew first class here and I was sitting in my shower just smiling.
Yeah, it's badass. Yeah. It's just inter Europe or maybe like interstate USA. They don't have proper first class. They just have the shitty low cost.
Yep.
So that's where I'll fly private, and that fixes.
Fuck, flying private changed the game because we'll fly private when I fight in Vegas from Phoenix. It's like fucking 40 minutes, but it's just not going to the airport, not having to deal with all that.
They're like taxis.
Fucking nice.
And it's time travel because without all the airport bullshit, like I can wake up in Bucharest, Romania. I have a meeting in Prague, which is an hour and a half away, and then I have a meeting in London, which is another hour away. So I can go from Bucharest, Prague, London, Prague, Geneva, Bucharest in a day.
Yeah.
You just boom, 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 boom. So it is like time travel. It is cool for that. And you do get used to it. Man, I spend so much money on jets.
Do you?
$500,000 a month, maybe. I blow on fucking planes.
Do you have any
Shit.
Teslas?
Time is money though.
Time is money. I like that's my excuse.
Do you have any Teslas or no?
No Teslas. No.
You ever drove one?
I've driven one once. I don't want to piss Elon off. He's pretty powerful.
The Plaid? Did you drive the Plaid?
I know they're fast.
They're fucking fast.
I know they're fast, but
They're stupid.
I like the combustion engine. I like the idea of old ancient dinosaurs being set on fire.
The rumble.
Yeah, like the electric is kind of like zzz, it's kind of like bumper cars.
Yay.
Yeah, I don't know. And also because I know that electric cars are going to be forced upon us soon.
Yeah.
Why adopt it earlier than I have to? I'm trying to stick with combustion as long as I can because this is the last great age of the combustion engine, right? Even when I bought my Chiron, they said, yeah, this is the biggest combustion engine that will ever be in a production car ever.
Damn.
Even they're going
that's
hybrid now.
crazy.
Comfort-wise, what's your favorite?
Comfort. I don't know if I think about comfort ever.
When you're going,
You're so uncomfortable. Just like, fuck this.
Yeah, they're all uncomfortable. No, comfort. I don't know. I have 28 cars, but if I had to say what the best car is overall, it's the 812 Superfast Ferrari.
Ferrari.
That's the best one. That's the best car.
What do those run?
I don't even know anymore. 400 grand, something like that.
And the Bugatti's how much?
Mine was 5.2 million.
Jesus.
Is that what you drove here?
Yeah, it's outside.
Damn. we gotta
Oh
check
yeah,
that
we're gonna
out.
fuck check. That's that's
Yeah,
insane.
yeah. It's a lot of money, But I think it's almost like now the most famous car in the world almost.
That's
'Cause
hard.
everyone knows my one and the color and what color's the Bugatti and all this bullshit. As soon as anyone sees it, they're like Tate. So
And cars like that always go up in value.
they're supposed to, but if I kept it in a collector's warehouse or something, it would. I'm just driving. I'm kicking the shit out.
You
I'm
got it,
smoking
man.
cigars and fucking in it, and driving it around the world. And I've got Tate stitched in the headrest, and I don't know who's gonna
Damn.
buy it off me.
Yeah.
But, I'll probably never sell it. But yeah, it's the last great age of the combustion engine, so I think now's the time. But Ferrari's is the best overall car because it does everything so well. You know, it's good all rounder. You can take it on a tour around Europe. You can race it around a track. You can do everything pretty good. Whereas a Huracan, there's no boot space. It's small.
That's what I got.
You got a Huracan?
Yeah.
No, it's perfect. No, man, it's amazing for what it's good. Like, if you want to fuck around, I have a Huracan. If I want to fuck around the city and drop the top and play music and be obnoxious,
I like
it's
the way it
amazing.
looks.
And it looks
I
amazing.
like the way it looks.
But
Like,
if you're
that's
in
why
it like for 23 hours,
yeah.
it's just your
I drove a
back.
Ferrari for the first time in Vegas, and I was like, this is more sturdy than the Lambo for sure. It just feels more, it built better.
Yeah. And it also depends where you're driving, right? It depends where you're going. Like I said, I live in Eastern Europe, so it's super cool out there. We have amazing mountain roads.
Damn.
Like in America, it's just like straight line, right turn, straight line, right turn.
Massage parlor, massage parlor, massage
Yeah,
parlor.
yeah.
What kind of you got a pretty sweet watch collection?
I have a lot of watches. Yeah, I have a few.
We're just getting into watches. It's fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
It's fucking sweet.
The truth is, there's nothing to buy but watches and cars. Like when I was poor, I thought when I'm rich, I'm gonna buy so much shit. And then you get rich and you buy a house. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then maybe you can buy more houses, but that's basically an investment, so it's not fun.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's an investment. So what are you buying just for fun? Okay, well you buy some clothes. How many clothes do you need? So you have clothes, and then it's just diamond watches and cars. There's nothing else. You only need one laptop.
What kind of watches you like?
I like APs, Pateks. I've got this. I've got the Chiron watch.
That thing's
Damn.
fucking
I'll show you.
great.
What about Richard Mille? You don't like them?
I don't like them.
The way they look?
I think they just look like fucking plastic toys.
They are kind of ugly, but I was looking at
I know
one.
they're popular though.
Yeah.
Fuck, they're hard to get, dude.
I know, man.
Yeah.
Let me try to take this off.
How much does that one run?
This was like 450 grand, I think.
Jesus.
If you press the button at the bottom, it has a little. It's handmade. We have to get it in front of the camera. It's handmade by one guy, and it takes months and months to make. And there's a little Bugatti engine inside. You see, it's got the 16-cylinder engine, and you press it and it moves.
What
It's a
the
mechanical engine.
fuck?
You get that from the retailer?
That's
It's from Jake and the
insane.
Co. So it's got a little Bugatti engine inside, and each one matches the car, so it's the same color as my car.
Like how many pieces of those is there in the world?
I think there's 60 of these, and there's 60 of my car as well.
Damn.
So yeah,
How many watches do you think you got?
20, 25 maybe. Yeah.
You like Rolex or not really?
Rolexes are amazing investments because you can make money on them. I have some friends who've made a bunch of money on Rolexes. They've made more money on Rolexes than I know people who've made on crypto.
Jesus.
But you have to really know what you're buying, and you have to have access to the best watches. You
Yeah.
have to know
Then not get
people,
caught.
And and you have to know people, and because like if a good one comes out, everyone's after it. I don't buy them as investments. I just buy them because like, who's gonna buy this off me?
Nah.
Some other Bugatti owner, he already has one.
Yeah.
A guy without a Bugatti? What, dummy?
Yeah.
It's like it's a waste of money, right?
Yeah.
But it's just you got the car, you get the watch, so it's just one of them things. But
Jesus, 450 bones.
Because you don't drink much alcohol either.
I drink
What do you like?
vodka.
Just vodka straight.
Vodka, yeah. It's the sugar that gives you a worse hangover than
Yes.
alcohol.
That's what we preach do.
Sugar is the worst. So just vodka and water. Be a hero. Just get it over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck the taste. Just
Yeah,
drink to get drunk.
Yeah.
Bam, and just be done with it. So
That's it.
yeah, vodka. I try and drink. But
Yeah, that's how I am. If I'm
You
going
s-
to the club.
You staying for the fight or no?
I'd love to come.
Those fucking tickets, huh? I heard
know.
they're turning down like some turning down like some serious people because there's no fucking tickets.
I know, man. I know it's hard. We have to try and work it out. So I'll have to see what I can do and see who I can speak to. But I know I heard the same thing.
And if I get you a ticket, it'll be like fucking not a good seat.
yeah.
The royal fucking the sheiks and stuff.
That
man,
shit's
it's crazy
wild.
seeing how everyone stands up and it's just like it's pretty cool.
It's
It
different.
is, but you know what's so amazing about like the United Arab Emirates is that you can see the leader walking through the mall. Like you can see it. Like no one's gonna fuck with him.
Yeah.
Like, he's perfectly safe. Like he's so loved by his people. He isn't hiding away like all the Western leaders have to hide.
50-50.
Yeah, he's
It's
just some dude and just like hey, and he's completely safe. No one's gonna fuck with him because of the repercussion, but also people actually respect him and love him. And it's amazing. I was talking to a bunch of high-level guys here in Dubai. What Dubai and what Abu Dhabi, both of them, what all of the United Arab Emirates has done in such a short period of time is truly incredible. It is incredible. And then you look at it and you go, they pay no taxes. It's so ridiculously safe. It's clean. Like, where's all our taxes going?
Why is it
where's
so
all our
safe?
taxes going?
Why is it so safe?
It's a good question. I would put it down to a few things. I think one, they have this amazing system where your visa is based on your job. So if you don't have a job to do, you can't really be here. So there's no such thing as being jobless or homeless. You come with a job, and that's where your visa comes. You lose your job, you lose your visa, you get deported. So that you're here with a purpose to begin with. Also means you have to work hard at your job. You can't lose your job or get fired because then you have to go home. And people are scared of deportation, which is the one thing. Second thing, people are certainly scared of the legal system. Like, you wouldn't want to end up in a jail here.
Yeah, that's what you were asking. Like, I wonder what the jails are like.
I can tell you what they're like.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. You
Just
wouldn't want
shitty.
to. It's just 50 people in a room. 50 dudes in a room forever. Some dude in the corner's jerking off because he's nuts, lost his mind.
Smelling like BO.
Some other dude has hepatitis. Like, you just don't want to be there, right? It's
Damn.
They don't give a shit about human rights and none of that kind of crap. If you break the rules, you will go to jail, and this is the jail. So everyone's scared of the legal system. And then there's the visa thing. But also, I think, is baseline morality. This is what we've truly lost in the West, and this is what's so important, like in a country here, which shows it. Even where I live in Romania, Romania is statistically the most Christian country on earth. The last census was 99.4% Christian.
Damn.
Very, very few atheists. When you have a baseline morality, it's very difficult for crime to completely get rampant and out of control. And I think that, it's as amazing to me. It's why I have so much respect for Islam as a whole. There are people here working for $200 a month in the desert heat. And if you were to offer them $1 million to insult the prophet, you wouldn't do it. Like, they have a baseline morality.
Yeah.
Like, there's a base morality. In the West, we have no base morality. Everything's for sale. Everything's a cost. Everything's it depends how much you pay me. Like, everyone, we don't even look after our own family anymore. You're sending your grandparents to nursing homes to die. Like, it's just everything's broken. When the relationship between a man and a woman is broken, and that means the way the kids are raised are broken, the family's broken, the street's broken, the town's broken, the city's broken, the state's broken, the whole fucking place is broken. It's all broken from head to toe. When you're living in a society where a woman can't say, I respect my man, he's the man of the house, without being demonized, and I can't say that's how a house should run without being canceled. If society is that broken at a fundamental level in the relationship between a man and a woman, how can it extrapolate out to have a huge 300 million people who are functioning in a normal way? And like I said, I live in Romania, and people ask why I live there, and I say, because I like to see normal things. I like to see normal couples and kids and holding hands and people not committing crime, not because they're scared of the cops, just because God's looking, and people looking after their grandparents into old age, and there's hardly any homeless. Is that because of the government? No, the government's broke. It's because you look after your family. And it's when I go to America, I just see godlessness. I'm just like, how did you end up completely and utterly homeless? Do you not have a single member of family who care about you? And they're like, well, yeah, I did, but they kicked me out. And I'm like, oh, so you were robbing from your own family because you're a fucking thief. Because they wouldn't kick you out unless you were a jackass. So it's like everything is broken. Everyone's grandparents are in nursing homes, and I don't know. It's just everything in the West just feels godless and broken to me. Whereas over here, it's just things are just more normal. I don't know. And I think that with that base morality, crime doesn't get out of control. I can talk. I don't know about America. I can only talk about London because that's where I spent a bunch of time. But London is dangerous now. I don't know if you guys have been recently. Do not wear your watch in London.
Really?
Scoop it?
Just on the street?
Don't wear your watch at all in London. It is not worth it. They will stab first and take it off your corpse. I'm telling you. If you Google London stabbings. In fact, this morning, someone sent me a video, and it was a video of the police driving around with electronic billboards saying, don't wear your watch. It is out of control. Go on your phone now and Google London stabbing. There's like fucking 25, 30 stabbings.
Because they don't have guns. That's what they do. They stab.
They stab? Thank God they haven't got guns. It'd be even worse. Because it's the mentality there. London's just fallen to the point now where if you have money, you have to hide it. There was a guy there's a video the other day of a guy in a Bugatti driving through London. They come up with a hammer and start smashing his window.
Just cause.
Trying to take his watch off his wrist while he's driving. It's crazy. London's completely lawless now.
I wonder how you get that back after going.
You can't.
Yeah, it's fucked.
You can't because efficiency always wins, and savagery is extremely efficient. If I'm going to turn up into a country like London and decide to be a savage, and their repercussion against me is arrest me, I get a lawyer, legal rights, human rights counsel, I get the defense from the state, a court case in 2 months from now. It's inefficient. Yeah. My system's very efficient. Give me that blade. Like you're going to lose in the end. So they're at a point now they can't lock these people up fast enough. They can't find them. The police are overworked. Like even me, man. Like I know people who had their phones stolen in London. Like they were standing there by the side of the road. Someone drives past, just snatches it off them. They called the cops, and the cops said, "Okay, here's your crime reference number for your insurance. Thanks." They don't look for the guy. It's done. And you can ask anyone who lives in London, same story. It's getting bad. All of Western Europe is getting really bad. And they have no plan to fix it. And it's just out of control. And it's because all the morality's gone. No one's scared of anything. Nobody's scared of anybody. Man, when I do these podcasts, there's so much stuff I want to say that I can't. I have so many stories I want to say that I can't. I'm going to give a very watered down version of a story. Mm-hmm. In my previous life, I knew some bad guys. I still kind of know some bad guys. And I was in London, I was at dinner, and there was a guy, and he was talking about how his business, whatever he was involved in, got robbed. And he knew who robbed him. And he was saying that, like, in the olden days, there was still a degree of respect between, even if you were opposites or warring parties, everyone wanted to make money. But now, even for pennies, everyone's just after it to the point where they'll get violent over nothing. So it's hard to just have a semi-standard business, whether you're selling radios or weed or drugs or whatever you're selling. It's just out of control. And he showed me this text message because he found the guy who robbed him. And he texted the guy his own address, as in, we know where you are. And the guy's reply was just like, I have 9 brothers and you have $2. Come kill me. As in, my brothers will get your kids. Come kill me. And then the guy started calling him. I'm here, sending him voice notes. I'm waiting. Sending his location, live location. Threatening. And then he's sitting there, that's fucking crazy. What do you do now? Yeah. Do you want to go to war with it? Some people are just gone. Mm-hmm. Some people just don't give a shit. And when you have a population of people who just don't give a shit, they live or die, and they're from war-torn countries, they don't give a fuck about you. They just dodged bombs their whole lives. They've come there with their fucking 15 brothers. They need food. Man, it's scary. It's scary, man. Like, and the worst thing about London is it's the most affluent areas. Knightsbridge, Mayfair, Harrods, the nice parts, the parts on Monopoly that cost the most money. So they'll get you. They'll rob you. They'll rob you right outside Harrods.
That's crazy.
That's terrifying.
Man, you have to be careful. Just keep an eye on it. Like, Google it up. They try and like suppress it a bit, but if you type it in, it's all there. Like,
yeah, I had no idea. I had no idea.
Nah, London's bad. Like, all my friends there don't wear watches. I don't wear a watch. I have a 5-man security team in London. 5 people.
And still don't.
And I still don't wear a watch. And I'm still from hotel to the car out, hotel to. I don't walk the streets, nothing.
You play any chess once in a while still?
I love to play chess. I'm not that good at it.
Dude, you would love jiu-jitsu.
Would I?
You would, dude. It's just like
sick.
that. It's like that, but
it's an athletic fucking game of chess.
Yeah.
Even if you found a good black belt and he just gave you privates and you guys rolled once in a while and fucking
and your brother.
But isn't punching people in the face more satisfying?
It is, but
hurts
you can't
more.
do it forever.
Yeah.
That's true, yeah.
Jiu-jitsu, there you can be a black belt, be 45 years old, 50 years old, go in, have a good training session, not leave with a headache, you didn't kick anyone's elbows. And jiu-jitsu is probably, I've done all the sports. I've had a bunch of kickboxing fights, boxing fights, MMA fights. Jiu-jitsu is probably my favorite sport.
Yeah?
Yeah. You can do it for forever.
And is it useful on the street?
Well,
I had this argument that it's completely useless on the street. Now, I'm ready to be corrected if you like, but my basic rule of all the incidents I ever had in the street is do not go to the ground. Stay standing no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, it depends if there's a group of people, but you have
There's always a group.
Yeah,
you have
that's
two
true.
people, same athleticism, same sort of grit. The one with jiu-jitsu is going to win every
100%.
every
True.
time, yeah.
But it's that I agree with that. It's just I've never had a fair fight in the street ever.
Yeah.
I've always been jumped.
You don't want to go to the ground. You want to find a corner.
Yeah, it's just like, you're trying to armbar him and getting your head stomped. It's nasty. And that's like, even I've had 5 MMA fights. I fought Luke Barnett. I don't even know. I fought Luke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I've had 5 MMA fights, but I never did any wrestling training. It was just like kick him in the head, run away.
Just knock the motherfucker out.
Yeah, that was the plan. Like, you could get away with it more back then. Now people are far more rounded athletes.
Yeah.
Your type of brain, though, I think you'd like it, and it's physical and it's fun, it's competitive.
It's a good
and
release of energy.
You're competing for good dominant positions to where you could smash the guy in a fight, and it's just fun.
Yeah.
And doesn't fuck your health up.
Yeah, and that's the key, not fucking your health up. Because once you get past a certain age, like, for me, my hands and everything are fine. Even though I've broken my hand like 6 times, my hands are still okay. It's my ankles and knees and shins from K1
hitting elbows,
and just kicking shins and like I've got videos online where I kick through baseball bats. I could kick through bats and everything, and it's fine. But man, your legs get fucked up.
You have
Knees
any
get
concussions?
fucked up. I've only been knocked out once, and it was pretty clean, and I was all right.
Just concussed, but not get knocked out though.
Don't think so.
Just get cracked.
I don't think so. I've been all right. I've done pretty good. I don't think I've got CTE or anything.
Haven't
Considering how many
had
fights I've had.
Haven't had many 8 counts.
No, and I've had maybe 3 or 4. I was really good at like running away. I was hit and run.
Hit and not get hit. That's the name of the game.
That's
what
the
I
name
do.
of the game.
6'3",
That's what I do.
6 foot.
Yeah,
I got
that's
fucking-
the name of the game. Hit and not get hit. Right. So even if you win boring, you win.
Yeah.
Like, and that's people. There's always some fucking couch idiot who's he's boring. That's why I love Mayweather. Everyone's like, oh Mayweather, oh no. At the end of the day, he never lost. He landed more. He didn't get hit.
Money Mayweather.
Money Mayweather. I love Mayweather. I loved his style. It was like, he was boring against Pacquiao. you go fight Pacquiao.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, like he did what he had to do to win. He didn't give a shit about the knock. He did what he had to do to win, and he had the longest career. And now he's just beating up anybody.
When's the first time you've seen CHOQ fight?
I've seen you, man. I remember seeing you fight. You had like an afro before, didn't you?
Yeah.
I remember seeing you fight way back then.
That's
and
funny.
I remember, and I loved your style. I was like, my only regret in my fight career that I wasn't more show off.
Yeah.
You know, I think now I think back, I was more nervous than I should have been. I don't know why. I was nervous a lot. Everyone gets nervous, but I was really nervous, and I was very much like, just win.
Yeah.
Don't take any risks, just win. And I won all the time. But I wish I just fucked about more and span around more and fucked about instead of just, jab, cross, body hook, low kick.
But that's
body,
how
grab,
you
cross, body hook, like the Dutch. But it wins. It
Yeah.
just smash him. But I was like,
They have show and win money still too,
And K1.
And,
or was it flat pay?
I don't even know what. I think kickboxing's falling apart. I think that fucking UFC is just dominating.
Yeah.
But when you were fighting, was it show and win bonus?
No, so yeah, when I was fighting, I mean, back then kickboxing was still a sport. Now I'll even literally say that it's UFC. I even think boxing's dying. I think that there's a few names in boxing that you need to carry the whole sport. Yeah. If those names stopped tomorrow, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
So no, it wasn't so much show and win money. I usually got a flat rate. I had a contract. I was contracted with a few organizations, and the big money was always in tournaments, which is just that's the most annoying thing about K1, man. It's 8-man tournaments, and it's luck of who you get paired against, and you always get paired against the monster in the first fight, and it's just it's a pain in the ass.
You see this little Russian he's about to fight?
I've seen him once.
Little Peter.
He's a mean little motherfucker.
Yeah.
Dude.
It's gonna be a sick fight.
It's gonna be a crazy fight.
Yeah, but yeah, it is gonna be a crazy fight.
Number 12 versus the number 1 guy.
Number 1 little dude.
Wow.
He's number 1.
Do you watch Charles versus Islam? Are you familiar with them too much?
Islam I'm familiar with. Charles, I try and watch the UFC, but where I am in Romania, it's kind of sketchy.
The time zones too,
time
right?
zones all fucked
Yeah,
up,
you're
and you get to
fucking-
stay up really late. So I catch bits of it here and there.
Yeah.
But there's no doubt about it. If I were to redo my career, if I were to start again from now, I would have been MMA and I would have aimed for the UFC. There's no competition, man. I think personally, I'm not saying I know it all in and out, but people always say to me, "Why didn't you go MMA?" And I'm trying to explain. Back then, you had Glory, you had K1 in China, you had it's Showtime, you had these big shows. Now that's all gone. Like even Glory does the odd big show that people care about. But
There's nothing better than being famous or popular and known for whooping ass.
oh, bro,
It's the
completely.
best.
Everyone respects you.
Yeah.
Everyone has to intrinsically respect you. Except maybe, you know what? I think the West is so far fallen that even in the West, I see people, even like on your Twitter account and stuff, there's some dickhead running his mouth.
Oh, yeah.
What's wrong with these people?
Yeah.
What is like, like if you walk through Eastern Europe and you're a pro fighter, you're respected as you should be. Like people have just lost all respect in the West for anything. It's just weird society.
weird.
It's strange. They will sit there and beef people who will kick the fuck out of them.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like what level of paradigm are you operating under? It's kind of strange. I think that the West's superpower, the reason it's so successful in some ways is that they convince everybody they're a unique, special snowflake, and they give everybody this confidence. And that's why we're so good at like Olympics and athletes and stuff, because some people take that confidence and excel with it.
Yeah.
But there's a whole bunch of people who don't do shit with their lives with the same confidence for some reason. They like don't know their place. Right. And that's why you have like bank robberies and idiots on Twitter and all this stuff. Whereas in other countries, it's far more obvious. You matter, you don't. Shut up. It's kind of, it's weird. The West is not like that. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's a strange place. But
It is fucking sad how much hate you get online. But it's like you look at those people. It's like I've always said, if I respect someone, get respect from the people you respect. Then
Completely.
that's fucking it.
completely.
Yeah.
But what truly amazes me is, in fact, it doesn't amaze me. What truly stands out to me is the genuine visceral emotions from people. There's a guy who's made a huge TikTok account, and it's really big now, and he walks around saying, "Have you heard of Andrew Tate?" on college campuses in America.
We were watching those.
And yeah, and the girl's like, "Yeah, do you like him?" "No." "Why?" "He's a misogynist." "What's misogynist mean?"
Fuck.
"Bye."
Or they have someone else try to answer. You tell them.
Yeah, they don't even know why they dislike me. And what's scary about that is if the Matrix, if the media machine and the Matrix can instill strong emotional responses in somebody, and they don't even know why, That's when you know you're a slave.
Yeah.
Right? When you're a slave is when I feel very strongly about X and I can't explain why and I don't know why. I've been told to feel very strongly about X and I don't know why. That's how you end up with gas chambers. I'm telling you, that's where true tyranny and bad things happen. When you have large proportions of the population which believe in true hatred and have strong emotional feelings and they don't even know why. That's where the world goes wrong. So when I see these people who hate me and they can't even fucking logically explain why they dislike me, those are the most dangerous people on the planet. They are completely empty-brained slave minds. And that's why if you want to get conspiracy theorists about the whole world, the way it works is they are trying, and they're trying very hard to destroy any kind of base morality or any kind of base parameters we have inside of our programming, even on an evolutionary level, so that it gets to the point where your brain is empty, open for the slave programming. They try and question they try and challenge everything. You're not allowed to look at somebody and say if they're a man or a woman anymore. You must ignore your own eyes. Because if they can get you to the point where you ignore your own eyes, you'll accept anything they tell you. If you will ignore your own eyes telling your brain something, then your brain is completely ready for the slave program, whatever they decide it is. Look at the USB and decide it's whatever today, and they'll plug it in and you'll accept it, right? So they don't want you to sit there and critically think, and they don't want you to have any kind of base morality. It's why they attack religion so hard. With religion, there's base morality, right? Murder is wrong, for example. There's commandments, there's base moralities. They're trying to get rid of all of this. Everything has to be disappeared, so your brain is completely empty. So you're an empty slate. iRobot. Plug them in, you go do this. And this is why they push and challenge these agendas. There's some things we know inside of us which are intrinsically wrong. Pedophilia is intrinsically wrong. We know this. We're born with this. It's innate inside of us. Like incest is wrong, pedophilia is wrong. We know this. But they come along and say, maybe it's not wrong. They're trying to get rid of anything inside of your brain that you're born with that stops the absolute degeneracy. They're trying to empty your mind. So when I see these people, these smart people, with degrees in university, sitting there screaming hate at me, and they don't even know why.
Scary.
It's scary, because these are the people who are going to get a job and be in charge with their degree. And I'm sitting there going, wow. I don't give a shit about me. I'm in Romania. Come get me. I got a big gun. Don't give a fuck. But like, that's America as a whole now. You have your most educated people, the people who are most successful in terms of the matrix and the way it deems success, completely empty-minded and ready for absolute programming on any issue. Do you think society is going to get better or worse in that scenario? It's got to get worse, right? It's genuinely scary. And I'm looking at all this, and I've been the example of it, but you could take a bunch of other examples where it's the exact same thing. People are ignoring their own eyes on a daily basis now. I said this now. I don't want to get this video taken down, but I said this to a friend. I said, did you see a pandemic? He goes, what do you mean? I was like, no, like when you walked around, did you see rushing ambulances everywhere? Did you see lines outside of hospitals? Did you see people dead in the street? Did you see one? Not what the news told you and not the rules they gave you, but with your own eyes, did you see one? No, you did not. Of course you fucking didn't. But they were telling you, ignore your eyes, be afraid. Yeah. And they'll do this with everything, right? And it's scary. And that's why I have so much respect for Dana, because he didn't take none of that shit. Yeah. UFC's going on, don't care. OG. And even me, man, like when the whole thing kicked off, me and Tristan were sitting there in Romania and we're like, you know what? If this gets me and you, then the whole world's fucked. Because we're two military-age males in very good shape. If we die, then society's over. It's going to be a breakdown of society on a fundamental level. It's about to be Mad Max. So there's no point hiding. So we went to Sweden because Sweden was open. And nobody talks about the fact that Sweden never locked down. There was no vaccinations, no masks. At the height of it, at the very beginning, when America was locked down, all of Europe was locked down, you couldn't leave your house, all this garbage. Sweden was wide open. Me and Tristan were running around nightclubs in Sweden for months. Damn. For months on months. And everyone's like, this is stupid. Completely open as normal. No one seems to talk about that. I don't know why. Sweden was fine. Their death rate's lower than any other country. So literally when everyone's talking about it at the very beginning, when people were most afraid, me and Tristan are in Swedish nightclubs running around. And I was trying to tell people, but they just delete your tweets and censor you. Don't tell the truth. Delete. That's the matrix. They delete one side of the story, right? So they can control the whole reality. And then people ignore their own eyes. And then you get people completely slave programmed. And it's scary. We're living in a world now where there are people who will sit there and they don't analyze any of their own opinions. If you have a strongly held opinion, if there's something you strongly believe in, you need to sit there and you need to defrag your brain. Why do I believe this so strongly? Is it because of personal experience or is it because I've been told to believe this?
Conditioned.
Conditioned. No, people are conditioned. They don't even know why.
Yeah.
Bro, and this is why I don't talk to anybody. Because they're all fucking idiots. They're conditioned. They're all conditioned by the Matrix. And it's just like, it's scary to even be around these people because if anybody, this is another thing I say to people, you have to be very careful with the company you keep because if you're hanging around people who are conditioned by the Matrix and they're easily programmable or they're easily manipulated, they're the first people who will turn on you in a police interview. They're the first people who some bitch will get in their ear or some other dude will get in their ear. I stopped talking to people over their stance on COVID. It's like, look, I used to be your friend, but if you're going to believe lies that easily, I don't want you near me anymore. You can be manipulated. I don't trust us. If we go to a police interview with me and my team and they say, your brother told us everything, I can laugh out loud. With that fucker, I don't know if I can. Mm-hmm. You got to be careful of these slaves because they're out to get you. It's a scary world, man. It's scary.
Fuck yeah, it is, dude. What's your agenda for the rest of the day?
Good question. I'm gonna probably drive back to the other part of the UAE, and I've always got work to do. I'll find something to do. You know, emails, blah, blah, blah. Nothing that fun.
You spend much time in Abu Dhabi and Dubai?
They're both nice places. They're both really nice. I like to come here for like a week at a time. I usually stay here a while when I'm here. But I've got some work to do. When I first land in Dubai especially, I feel like the first 2 or 3 weeks is just work. Mm. I need like 2 or 3 weeks to clear all the stuff I've got to do before I like chill out a bit, you know?
What makes you pick Romania to live?
Have you ever been to Eastern Europe? Nowhere?
No.
Man, Eastern Europe's sick.
Really?
Best place in Europe, hands down.
Chicks?
All of them. Not just chicks, everything, but chicks,
Food,
of course.
chicks, coffee.
Like Poland's amazing. Czech Republic's amazing. Hungary's fun, not as amazing as those.
God, something about foreign chicks. I think it's just because we're from America. It's just the same chicks, kind of. But something about foreign chicks just drives me crazy.
Yeah, they're very different though than American girls. They're very different. Like I state that Miami's one of the easiest places in the world to get laid.
Yeah,
because girls are out to fuck like the guys are. It's
If you got a chick
ridiculous.
mark on Twitter, you're
it's
insert
ridiculous.
good.
yeah.
In Eastern Europe, they're a lot more conservative, so they're harder to get. But if you get
That's
them,
what's fun.
But if you get them, they're better quality once you get them. Like when my friends come visit, my American friends, me and Tristan and stuff, we'll go out to the club, whatever. We'll bring a bunch of girls back. In the morning when we all wake up, the girls will be like tidying the house. It's like, why are they all cleaning? Just clean the house.
They're good
up.
girls.
They leave. They just clean up and then leave. Or like, if you have a hole in your sock, some bitch you just fucked will like buy you new socks. I bought you socks. Like they're different, but they're harder to get in the first place, you know? So it is different over there. But I would say, man, Romania is a unique country. And Romania, if you guys come with me, you'll have an amazing time. But it's not very accessible for most people. You have to know people there. If you don't know people, if you're just a tourist and you turn up, you're not going to enjoy it. But if you're with me, I'll show you the best. But truthfully, in many ways, Warsaw and Poland or Prague and Czech Republic are objectively better, and they're amazing cities. You have to go to Eastern Europe, guys.
Yeah, we definitely want to.
It's super safe. You're not going to have any trouble. You're not going to worry. Like, the crime over there is very organized, and organized crime isn't genuinely a threat unless you're involved in that world. So, like, in Eastern Europe, in Western Europe, it's wrong place, wrong time. America's probably the same. Wrong place, wrong time. Guy runs up on you.
Yeah.
But in Eastern Europe, you have to have a genuine beef with a guy, and you know it's going to come. And like, if you bump into a guy, if you show respect, you'll be fine. Oh, sorry, bro. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit about causing little beefs, and they're doing big boy stuff. So it's very organized crime. It's very safe, and beautiful women. It's fun. Good food. Cheap. Bro, it's amazing.
Dude, fuck
amazing,
yeah.
man. You gotta check it out.
Deep.
It's amazing. You guys gotta check it out.
Dude, well, thanks so much for making the cruise. It was fucking epic conversation.
Yeah, I'm pumped to go check out the Bugatti.
We gotta go get a workout in, and you're cruising back.
Yeah.
We'll go check out your rig.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, bro.
Thanks.
Appreciate you,
Thanks for having me,
brother.
guys.
Dude, thank you so much, brother.
Thank you.
Episode 209. Peace.
Doses.